May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hale Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate you. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hale Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.
Go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate, on time, never late. I grind, celebrate, no pump fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day, champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sandlot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that calm and steady grind. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. Smile good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I clip 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees.
Young niggas coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Young niggas coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah. I flipped my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do it? Better be on time with my bankroll. Talk fat, no ball cat, no lit word. Routine like clockwork, my wrist word.
Let's go like this. I flourish the cook, got no roof on it. I'm taunting, I'm all in the moment. Everything lit, I don't miss. Till someone get John on the line, say the invoice is coming. I'm thumbing through stacks of that cold ball. They egging me on, so I'm going off. I got them mad, I show off. They treating my life like it's no law. I never flex it, but my means.
Let's get it, everybody. Like
don't lie. Don't bro me, don't know me, you not regime. So the one with the condom, my eye is on it. Yeah. I see you move through the base, they precaution, they snaking, they seeing me. Money tree, wake up the royalties. I got a queen, yeah, she go with me. She making me feel like I'm royalty. It's probably cause we royalty. I just got fresh with the golden piece. Shrug, show the emoji, okay. You know it's me, diamond soul, dancing, singing like Jodeci. 10 out of 10 every time till they notice me. What you thought I was supposed to be. Ain't nobody close to me. Granted, my hits touch the billboards, and they printing my face on the billboard. They envy my drip, I'm enlightened. You should let go of that hate, but you feel more. I make them rage every time they get flame when they hear what I say, coming straight from the source, yeah. I come a long way from the coast by the shore. My boy, I'm enjoying this. Young kids coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to spit the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flip my pie, really did that 180. Yeah. I flip my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do? I can't do. Better be on time with my bankroll. Talk fat, no ball, can't.
And now, your host, Sir Hale Speaks. What's going on, everybody? We made it to another Super Sunday. What's going on, everybody? Good to see everybody in the building. What's going on with you? Good to see you. What's happening? Happy Sunday to everybody. Listen, much love to the people of the chat. Much love to... I see Scam Likely in the building. I see Kiera's in the building. Lady Navoa's in the building. Practical Absolutes is in the building. What's going on, D. Sosa? Mr. Von Bryant is in the building. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, sir. Mr. He said, oh, he's in the building. Ayak Sarah, what's going on, nephew? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. What We Know podcast is in the building. What's good with you? What's good with you? I see the one and the only Kiera lost in translation. So, guys, this is a big thing. I've been getting this a lot. If you guys just subscribe to the channel, please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I want to make sure that you guys get all of the notifications for our content. I want to make sure that you guys get this. All right. Salute to Mrs. She said, oh, she's in the building. The Real Precious, I dropped the link for you if you're able to join tonight. I know you just got off of a stream, but if you got some time to join us, we'll love to see you up here. Good to see you. Who else we got in the building? I think that's about everybody. Mindfully Misunderstood. Oh, he's in the building. He's in the building. What's going on? Miss Rob B, what's going on with you? Good to see you tonight. Glad that you were here. Yeah, so I dropped the link for The Real Precious. D.O. Saint, what's going on? D.O. Saint, I see you. Good to see you guys tonight. Let's get the show started. So tonight, guys, we're talking about fault, fame, and in the information overload. Are we desensitized? In 2022, with all the stuff that's happening from the political perspective, hip-hop, family, relationships, culture, are we overloaded? And because we're overloaded, have we become desensitized to all of the stuff that's going on around us? Tonight, we're going to dig into that. We've got a great panel. We're going to get into it tonight. Are you guys ready for a dope show? Bringing up to the stage, you know who it is. It's KK. She's in the building. Bringing up Mike Kiera. She's here. What's going on with you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Excellent. Good to see you. Like those colors. Like those colors on you. All right, y'all. I got to bring Saida. She's in the building. She made it here. I'm glad to see her here tonight. Good to see you. What's going on with you?
Thank you. I'm great.
Good. Okay. I see you with the frames. You know what I'm saying? You fresh. I see what you got going on there. Nice. Excellent. All right. I see Mindfully Misunderstood. I got to bring my brother, the smooth brother, the stoic with the shades on today. He's in the building. What's going on, brother? Yep. If you're speaking. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, family. Glad to be back in the joint one more again.
Good to see you, my brethren. The one of the only president of the Dustosphere has made his way to Sir Hale Speaks Super Sunday. He is here, ready to give a fresh perspective to all those who suffer from wigatitis. He's in the building with a fresh perspective. He's here tonight. What's up, my brother?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Good to see you, man. All right, y'all. It's the one of the only. The tribe is in the building. The one of the only. The Heritage Tribe Media Group. They are here. Mr. and Mrs. He Said, She Said is in the building with another fresh perspective. Show your love, y'all. They are in the building. What's going on with you?
Peace and love, family. Peace.
Do that 5 times.
I got to bring up somebody's new to the platform. It's the first time he's been on here, but I just believe he's going to offer some fresh perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and the only, not Hughley, but DL Saint is in the building. What's going on with you, my brother?
What's good, fam? How y'all doing? Welcome, and thank you. I see everybody up in here. Yeah, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. How about them Bengals?
All right, y'all know it's my brother from another mother, straight from the shop, but in Kentucky. My brother, Lil Podcast, is in the building, ready to drop another dope perspective. He is here. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Good to see you, man. Hey, look, AR got me saying Maine. I don't even know what that means. He got me saying Maine. Salute to one of the only guys. When she's on here, everything is better. She's in the building with another fresh perspective. Show your love for the one and the other. Miss Lucky Marie, she's in the building. What's good?
Hello, you guys.
All right, y'all. We're going to have a dope conversation tonight. Let me mix this up a little bit. All right, we're going to have a dope conversation. But before we do this, let's answer the question, how has everybody's week been?
It's been amazing.
Yeah. Labor intensive, yet productive.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Shout out to the single parents out there. Y'all know what it is. Man, I wish we had one more weekend day. That's all I ask.
Dang. Shout out to the single parents. That's the first shout out to the single parents we had.
I think that goes for parents in general, not just single parents, like parents in general.
I'd be hating on the. I got 2 in the house. I'd be jealous. I'd be sitting around like, man, I wish I would have.
You know what DL Saint? Love is in the air. You might find the one tonight on this stream. So just want to keep hope alive.
Man, look. Keep hope alive.
So this is what I'm going to try to do. So for these shows, I'm going to try to keep them at 2 hours, y'all, because I don't know. Listen, somebody told me that once I hit 30, I remember I was 28, and I'm like, yo, my birthday, I'm going to be 29. He said to me, once you hit about 30, it's all downhill. Now, he was about 50 when he said it. I said, sir, you don't know who I am. It's uphill from here. Let me tell you something. I get sleepy early. My knee be hurt for no reason. Right? So these 30s are messing up. So I'm gonna try to keep the shows at about 2 hours, get us up out of here, but we're gonna have a dope show.
And Sir Hale, real quick, bro, I saw you on the Purple Cast, man. I saw it on Team Replay, man. Outstanding job, brother. You and Black Man Unfiltered. Shout out to y'all for going over there and rocking it out, representing in Dallas.
Hey, man, appreciate that. Really do. Thank you so much, man. I really do. So, guys, we're gonna have an interesting conversation. And I'm going to kind of take the show in a different direction than we normally do. I always talk about relationships, and I always will, but this week has been very interesting, and I think that tonight is a really good opportunity to kind of have a different conversation. So you guys, of course, have seen what's going on with Takeoff. Everybody's seen that, right? We've seen stuff in hip-hop. We've seen stuff in politics. Let me start off with this question. Just in America, any arena, have we become a beef culture? Whether it's politics, whether it's education, whether it's, music, are we a beefing culture where we handle conflict by beefing with each other? What do you guys think about that?
I think it's about the clicks. Anything to get you the clicks, not necessarily beef, but we're an attention culture.
Let me give you some perspective. So if you guys look at the debates, and look at the debates of the 1990s, 80s, it used to be. Now with social media, you can say almost anything and be PC and get away with it, even in the political realm. So do you guys, looking at the way that it is, does this point to a level that we don't know how to handle conflict and we resort to going back and forth? What do you guys think it is? Is this a beef culture?
First of all,
and one more thing, and just take it off of YouTube. I'm not even talking about YouTube. I'm talking about America in general.
I don't think it's just about the culture. I think this country is built on violence. First and foremost, the inception of this country is built on violence, and people are naturally tribal. we gravitate towards who people who are like-minded. So even in countries where everyone's the same race, let's say Japan or China or something like that, there are cliques within that group of people. Now, in America, you have this melting pot of races, and even in the melting pot, you have subsets of groups of people so now a country that is rooted and grounded in violence, with all of these tribes, running amok. It's a recipe for things that of the sort that we experience here in America. This is American culture.
I don't know why you said take it off of YouTube. YouTube is a perfect example of what's going on and what has been going on in this country. But I think what bro just said probably just sums it up. Like, the country itself is built on that. We can't get away from it. As much as we would, want to pretend we can, we can't.
I think it's more that they try to fit in and trying to be something they really are not. I heard from my mom when they was talking about this situation that it was some man, he was on a podcast and he was talking about how when you become a certain level of, well, I guess it's like when you become a different person, you shouldn't put yourself back in that situation that you used to be. You're no longer like them people. So that trying to still fit in with that crew, they're not looking at you the same. Some of them might look at you as if you betrayed them, you left them. Some of them are jealous. So putting yourself back into that atmosphere, it could be a lot of tension and people can start arguments and it can lead to different situations.
Oh, shout out to DL. He on the pedal and gave, man, off the chain, man. Appreciate you, brother. And to my big sister is in the building. Teresa Allen, what's going on with your love? She says it's all about power for whatever reason. Anybody else want to respond to this?
Yeah, I wanted to know. You said, is it a beef culture?
Yes.
I wouldn't say it's a culture. I agree with Sir Charles. Pretty much, I think it's what we choose to beef over and make it a true life or death situation. I think in some cases, if you are trying to conquer something, you are going to have to fully conquer something, like he illustrated America. But I think the difference that sets us apart is that we quote unquote beef over dumb stuff that other cultures deem as stupid. Like, I run across a lot of like Africans that come here and they express what they don't like about Black Americans, which is always that it's not even that we kill or we have violence. It's the fact that it's over nonsense that other places would never deem as something that you should kill somebody over. So I think it's what we choose to beef over and what we choose to have grudges and all those things. We're in a culture where we're a cutoff culture, where we think we could do everything by ourselves, and now we're entitled to other people's lives. We're entitled to the things they're supposed to do if we show them some sort of what we think is loyalty, or we want our expectations to match. We want to show people we not no punks. Like, all of that ties into it, which creates beef. Which other cultures, if they seriously have a beef, it's going to be over something serious that can actually push them forward. With us, it kind of puts us backwards. That's just what I would say.
That's a good perspective. I respect that.
I would say that, in America, you know what I mean? Because you say you want to, talk about like the U.S., especially with politicians. They're always looking for that gotcha moment, right? They can't stand on policy. They can't stand on their records, these politicians, right? So they have to, it's tribal. They have to get their tribe on their team. You know what I mean? You look at, I don't care if you're looking at Trump or you're looking at AOC or Marjorie Taylor Greene, you name the politician. They need to pander to their base because they know the way things are set up. I need to get my base and I have to look passionate, and they confuse passion with this, this silliness that goes on out here. You know what I mean? They go back and forth about these big topics. Meanwhile, Americans still don't have health care. You know what I mean? The fact that the people in the trailer park who might support the conservative side, or the people in the hood who support the liberal side, still can't afford to buy blood pressure medication, and they die. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you got this politician sitting there, the I got you moments, they're slinging stuff back and forth, they're acting crazy, and as soon as the camera goes off, they shake hands. You know what I mean? It's like high five, good game. I see you at the after party. They're all in the same boat. They all walking away with the same bag. And I think Americans just aren't smart enough or don't want to allow themselves to see the truth. And the truth is, it's like, man, you know, they control by the 1%. So it's all smoke and mirrors, and America just wants it. Now, when you talk about the hood stuff, like Takeoff, that's a whole different subject.
We'll get into that in just a bit.
Yeah, that's a whole different subject.
But what you just touched on is exactly what got me. I was watching this, watching the CNN stuff. I look at that, and I just noticed something. When they're telling you who to vote for, the campaigns are telling you why you shouldn't vote for the other person. It's not spending enough time telling you why you should vote for them. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to put this person supported this person on the border. If you vote them in, you will be unsafe.
Right. Yo, ladies, that guy, he voted to remove your rights. You know what I mean? He removed Roe v. Wade, but so did my guy. Both of them voted for it.
Right. I'm sitting here like, okay, so it's like a lot of fear mongering. It's like we want to perpetuate this fear or this concern and vote for us based off of what you don't like about the person, but don't worry about what you're actually voting for. We just don't like them, so vote for. That's kind of how it goes. Anybody else see it like that?
Yeah, well, that's all a psychological play. Really quickly, real quick, that's all a psychological play. I was reading this book. I forget the name of it, and it was talking about how negative news sounds more intelligent and is more appealing to the people. That's why if you can talk about the negatives of your the person you're running against, it sounds more intelligent. It sounds like it's true. As opposed, people buy into it more. It's all a psychological thing, as opposed to sticking to the positives of the person that is actually running the ad. That people ain't buying into that. But if you know what I mean, it's a psychological thing.
I would say it's an emotional culture, emotional imbalanced, undisciplined culture, a scam culture, a capitalist culture, and you mix all those things in there, you can have people selling you and controlling you and wiggling you all around in your emotions. If you're an emotional person, you can't critically think. They know this and they profit off of it, and they know the people are undisciplined, causing people to be out of control, and then they decide to control them. That's a short story. Sure, $5.
I am glad that Dustin said it, because if I would have said that, I would have been categorized as racist person, because I am not Black and I am not American.
You close enough, baby.
And I get a lot of pushback sometimes for saying things because it sounds judgmental. But when I see an American person, I don't see a race or a color. I see like anyone coming from the US is American. And sometimes I even include those people that have Latin American families. I'm sorry, my dogs are barking. So some people that are considered Latinos just because they come from Latin American families, but in reality, they were born in the US with that type of mentality. So they're not Latinos in reality to me. They're Americans. But I agree with Dusto and a little bit with what Lucky Marie said.
Yeah. Hey, Saida, I wasn't referring anything to race. I'm just curious to why you say it ties to race. Because I wasn't thinking about race at all.
Most of the time, if I say it as Americans, I've used the word Americans in general, and they always attack me because why do you call us Americans? It's most like Lucky Marie is a witness. She has witness that I say something. I'm very careful because I've been in situations where I don't mean to. I've been to generalizing, and then like right now, you're just literally saying it. And probably the rest took it like specific, group. I took it like America in general, because you guys were talking about America. Well, I would say, and add to this, is like I do not see. Well, I don't know about other cultures, to be honest, but I don't see me comparing myself to the media, to famous people, and I see that a lot, like talking about famous people's life, like Ciara and her husband, and why do you compare these people? Why do you talk about these people's life when So I don't know, things like that I find it like, why is that even relevant?
Let me tell you why this is. It's because something I want to tell you that most people won't tell you. Everybody on YouTube are millionaires. All of us sitting here, we have millions of dollars at our disposal. We live these lavish lifestyles. And what we're doing is giving the public what they want. And I think this is why we compare, because this is our peer group. Anybody disagree with what I just said?
Yes.
I disagree. We are not millionaires. We need a little bit of the reality and just be like, hey.
That's a fact.
No.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is 100% a fact. Ever since I came to YouTube and realized that I was a millionaire, my life has been so much harder than it was before when I was poor. But you know, I've grown accustomed to this millionaire lifestyle. I must say,
it ain't easy, bro.
It's not. You know what I'm saying? When you wear $1,500 hoodies like this one I got on right now, $2,000 hats, you know, that you can't find nowhere in stores. If you do, somebody cloned what I own, then that makes it kind of difficult for you to sit on YouTube and say what you really mean or what you really think, because then people want to sit up and judge you and make videos about you and use you on their thumbnails. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes life harder for us. But I just decided that I'm just going to give it all away, and I'm going to take this Section 8, and I'm going to ride this poor train out and see what this do for me.
Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a bill trillionaire. I got so much money, they had to make up a whole nother name for it. You know what I mean? I'm about to start charging you all for air. If y'all don't think of the way I want to think, I'm going to turn the air off. You know what I mean? That's how big I'm doing it.
I actually tell people like I'm broke and dusty. They won't listen to me.
Hey, bro, look.
It's
bro,
a constant
he gonna give it all away
competition.
and pick the Section 8.
It is a constant competition to who is better than who wears, who says something better than the other person. And it's always, I find it very judgmental. Like you forget that we're humans and that we make mistakes. You're comparing your mistakes are worse than my mistakes, but we make mistakes, you know. So
I call that smoke and mirrors. I call that smoke and mirrors, love. And what's your name again? I don't see any names on. I'm trying to jot everybody's name. So what's your name again? But below me.
My name is Zaira.
Okay, so nice to meet you. I call that smoke and mirrors. Right, it's just another way to get everybody who's not in the 1% to fight one another. Be it you, like I'm looking at you and you're talking about race, and I'm like, my daughter looks just like you, love. My daughter is half Mexican, and then she's half African American or whatever we are. You know what I mean? Like she's half. So when she walks around the street, she looks just like you. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? I challenge people to stay away from that. Try not to fall into that because it's just a trick. You know what I mean? It's a real trick that the 1% uses all the time. Because trust me, if you break through to the 1%, they could care less what you look like or where you from. It's about that bread at that level. But how many of us ever really gonna get there?
Let me get Mr. and Mrs. She said in this. I want to hear their response, and then Saida. Am I saying this correctly? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to come back to what we're talking about right after this. Mr. She said, are we in a beef culture?
Absolutely, 100%. Just the words that Saida and the brother alluded to, competition, and divide and conquer. The conversation that we haven't just far, not a lot of de-escalation, not a lot of walking back, and everything I heard you guys describe was people who are pre-offended. They can't wait to be offended. They're looking for something to be offended by. So that's completely a beef culture, from the Jets to the Dolphins, from the Giants to the Redskins, from, you name it, Applebee's, Chili's, it's beef culture. Taco Bell, McDonald's, it's all competition, like Saida said, and everybody trying to one up somebody in conversation, trying to one up somebody in lifestyle. Everybody's a YouTube billionaire, but not us. Not us. So if anybody want to send any money, send it right along. Send that plate along around the back. No, seriously. We need to be a little more sensitive to each other because, this is a beef culture, and we need to start to show a little more maturity and a little more ability to walk conversations back, to say, you know what, brother, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe we can, talk it out and get to a better ending, because everyone perceives us as a certain way. And, when you hate something, you become that thing. And if you go outside of America and ask them about Americans, they'll describe them just like Americans describe people of color. They use violence to solve all their problems. They're all about sex, money, and drugs, yada, yada, yada. So, if you haven't been, travel abroad, get a quick consensus, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Got anything?
Let me so
Hey, you know what, sir? Just real quick,
go
I need to
ahead.
get this off my chest because I've been holding this in for like 12 weeks. But the Harrises been together so long, they look alike. Like, if you just didn't even know that they was a couple, you could rightfully assume they was brothers and sisters, right? They speak the same, they be in code, they body language be the same. You know what I'm saying? They look like an old school rap group, and I love it. I really do. I wish y'all would drop an album.
Hey, look, give an idea, they probably will. Harris Tribe Media Group might
Right.
actually do
Yeah,
this.
man.
But let me ask you guys something. America is changing, right? We can see it's changing in terms of what we stand for, but in terms of the look of America. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. I don't want to be too deep on it though. But are you black first or race first, and then everything else?
No.
I'm just curious to hear what you guys think about that. Let's start with Sir Charles, and we'll go around. Race first, and then everything on top of that.
You know what? I would have to say it depends on. Okay, well, from my perspective, I would hope that a person could see my attributes and what I bring to the table first, but that's not always the case, right? So, like, many times I'm in the room where I'm the only black person in the room, and I can't control. No matter how I feel, I can't control what they see, and they see me as black first and foremost. They're gonna prejudge me because I'm a dark skinned Negro with locks, and I ain't cutting my shit. I'm sorry, but I'm not cutting my locks just to And so when I come into the room, they may prejudge me, and that's fine. So I embrace my blackness in that sense. But once they speak to me and they realize, oh, well, there's so much more to this guy, and so, I don't know if it really does it really matter how I see myself. Well, I guess no, hold on. What I'm saying is because people are going to prejudge you until they interact with you anyway and find out who you really are. So I try to say that, yeah, I am, I'm a good person. I'm punctual and all the other things that are right for us to be. But what's the first thing you're going to see when you see me? You're going to see I'm a dark skinned nigga with locks, right? And so at that point you have to, so you have to, I don't know. So what I'm saying is, me personally, first and foremost, I have to embrace that. I'm a black man first and foremost. Because I can't shake that, and there's nothing I can do about that. So yeah, I embrace my race.
Sir Charles, I would ask you kindly not to use the N-word in the presence of company. Don't forget, we do have a man here who has a Mexican daughter.
I grew up with Latinos, bro. They use it too. That is not a problem.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Use of the N-word, that's like a whole nother show. I'm thinking about doing it myself.
I know, right? Let's do it together. I'm with you because I definitely want to talk about that. I also want to do a show about whether or not when you have multi-race people, can they be considered black? Because I don't think they are. But Sir Hale, this is every week you have at least one or two questions that really like frustrate me, because it's like I know I'm supposed to answer it this way, but I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm supposed to say, yeah, I'm black first. Like when my mom gave birth to me, I came out of the womb, the first thing you seen was hair, and then you seen blackness, right? So you're black first. You know what I'm saying? That's before you a man, before they know what your gender is, before they know whatever, you come out and you're whatever color you is on your skin, right? But I don't really like black people like that. Like, they really irritate me. They get on my nerves a lot. They do a lot of things. Like we're talking about the takeoff situation right now. I wasn't even a really big Migos fan. I don't actually know why it's happening, but the takeoff death has been bothering me a lot. and I can't even explain why. It's
before we dig too much, we're gonna get to that segment. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just when I look at that, to me, that's a part of being black, right? We heard about the white rapper who died recently, but he died in his own bathtub, alone apparently, right? The black rapper shot. It's like you got to be willing to die in order to, you know what I'm saying, be successful in the music industry as a black man. And to me, that's a part of being black. And it sucks. All of the stereotypes. And we all know that stereotypes are rooted in truth. We've been able to root out a few that weren't right, like absentee fathers. You know what I'm saying? The majority of fathers are in their kids' life, and the constituted majority are actually living in the houses with their kids. But it's still, I don't know. At this point, I'm going to say I'm a man first. Because if I see a black man and a white man getting into it, and the black man is the one in the wrong, that's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna stand on. I'm not gonna go with the black guy because he's black. But if I don't know anything about the situation, I just see a black man and a white man fighting, I'm rooting for the black person. You see how complicated it is? It's like, you know, it was an old saying back in the day, a fight, a nigga and the white. If the nigga don't win, we all jumping in. I mean, that was a whole song from back in the day. So
showing your age, bro. You showing your age.
Yeah, that makes two of us with all that gray hair over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad I made it. I'm so glad I made it.
Podcast. That was a profound statement. That was profound. I want to revisit that about being a man and being okay. Lucky, what about you? Black first?
To me, no. I'm a woman first. And I would have said to the outside world, they see black first, but I'm of the belief that just recent experiences, even just yesterday, I was on Poppy Blanco's channel, and then a Hispanic lady overheard the conversation. And so I got off the panel, and it was about the takeoff situation in black community, all that, right? If you talk to other people of cultures, they have similar things going on in their own culture as well. They just identify it differently. You know what I'm saying? Every group of people have the good and the ignorant stuff. But I think that every time I interact with other races of people, they don't really treat me off the back normally like I'm a black girl or it's anything racist. So I think that we are programmed to think that it's okay for us to be prejudiced against other people, or that they look at us like that because we look at each other like that. So to other people, I think they'll just see, oh, she's a black woman. But I don't think it's in the way that we think they're looking at it. Like sometimes I want to say, when you go into a designer store, are they really following you because you're black, or are they following you because you look broke and you look like not the demographic that's going to purchase something? Like that's something that's true as a stereotype in our culture. So I don't know. I'm on edge with that, but I say I look at myself as a woman. I'm obviously a black woman. Well, I'm multiple things. So I don't look at it like that, but I think the world, the way that the world views us as black people is different than how we view ourselves, because we are programmed to kind of stay in a traumatic situation with slavery and all of this. We're reminded every time to keep going through that with a lot of different opinions. We always make excuses, even when we talk about relationships, we bring up slavery. So that's how we're designed to think. I don't think other people, for the most part, think like that.
Okay. Great points. So I guess I'll answer it this way. In America, I'm black first. And that's not because that's how I see myself. That's how America sees me. Americans' version of racism is unlike any other form of racism I've seen anywhere else in the world. I mean, even just going back throughout time, like the American version of racism didn't exist until slavery and the way they did it. Yes, there have always been slaves. There's always been a caste system, but America's caste system is way different than the rest of the world. So when I'm walking around the streets of America, you name the city, you name the street. When people see me, they see a black man. Law enforcement sees me as a black man. A civilian sees me as a black man. If somebody from the hood sees me, the postman sees me, whoever, they see me, I'm black. But if I'm walking around the streets of Medellin, or if I'm walking around the streets of, London, if I'm walking around the streets of Tokyo, Seoul, I'm a human first. They just see a human. And it's so profound.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
I'm DL. Y'all, that's the word I was looking for. Human. I wanna after you're done, I want to revisit this. I want to revisit what you're saying.
Yeah, so that I mean, it just we have to understand and accept that the Americans' version of racism is off the charts. You know, man, and can you really beat it? The only way to truly beat it is to bring yourself all the way out the bottom 99 and get into the 1%. But even having said that, you still going to experience a little bit of pushback in certain places. You know what I mean? Like the Sister Lucky's comment, she was like, well, if I'm walking around the store, they follow me because I'm black, or they're following me because I look broke. Maybe they think you look broke, but I've been in the top tier stores shopping for whatever. I don't care if we're buying automobiles, we're buying, watches, we're buying property, whatever we're buying. And there's been time. I mean, it just recently happened. I was in Bar Harbor in Miami, me and my cousin, and my cousin is paid. We got sub tier service, but the cheapest thing in the store was $10,000. But they're treating us like we don't belong in the store. That particular salesperson, to where I was like, look, how about give me that guy over there because he treated me like everybody else. I'll wait for him, as opposed to dealing with this woman who has an attitude with the color of my skin and more importantly, the color of my cousin's skin. But she was more busy. I'm retired. She was like, look, I got shit to do. I'm not going to wait. She can go get this necklace. I'm going to look at this necklace and put it on or whatever. And then I'm going to go buy this when I get back to Europe. You know what I mean? Like it didn't matter. But to your point, in America, you get treated that way. Not so much in other countries.
Sir Hale, can we pin the fact that he said woman? Because I'm of the belief that most of the racial experience we experience outside is always coming first from a non-black woman. I just like that he said woman. I just wanted to specifically point that out, that the Karens are real, not just to black people, just to anybody, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Saida, race first.
Thank you. It's very difficult, but I guess like Lucky said before, we all have those type of situations. Even in my country, I am considered black, and I go through this type of situations where like I'm not allowed in a club just because of how I look. So we have those things, and I'm not considered black to certain people, but in my country, I am.
So explain it to me. So why are you mixed?
And can we ask which country? I'm just curious.
Okay.
I'm Salvadorian. I am mixed Honduras and Guatemala, but I'm not. I'm criolla completely.
So I'm curious. So why are you considered that way? And this is
because to them I'm dark skinned.
Damn.
Like compared to other people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're close to aren't you close? El Salvador is close to Belize, like 2 hours or hours, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. But like I'm saying, we have those type of situations. It's not very common. It's more like to places where, and even these people that are white or considered white in my country, they are mixed with like Europeans. So they're not, they don't look like a regular Salvadorian either. But they are the ones, like someone said earlier, the ones that are kind of like trying to dominate the country and say, oh, okay, we are the ones that are going to rule everything here. But when it comes to, these disrespectful people, I really don't like it. I hate it. In fact, it doesn't matter who it is. I think we are humans, just like, DL said, we are humans first. And something that I actually work with tourists a lot, my country, and something that happened not too long ago is a drunk guy pushed me. So I am with 8 ladies, okay? They're all from the United States. And this guy is drunk and he pushed me. But I look and I know how a Salvadorian drunk man is acting. Is not going to do too much, but still I want to protect myself. I will not be an aggressive person that is going to try to do something to him. So I put my hand like this and like, hey, go back or get back. But the ladies that were with me, they literally were like, what happened? And they wanted to jump on him. Like they were ready to fight him. And I was like, no, don't do that. No, like you don't, as a woman, you don't want to put yourself in that position. And I noticed the difference, and they were like, no, we're ready to fight. And I was like, why? Why would you do that? Like all you have to do is just call the security and a man will take care of that. Like, let him go. And he was with his family, so I can see the difference when it comes to, like, the mentality. I would say I just wanted to point that out. Like the mentality is a huge difference right there. That's it. That's all I wanted to share.
I appreciate you sharing that. A Tribe Called, Harris, what's your guys' perspective on this?
I mean, it was just what do I identify as, black or woman? I mean, the way I
What
grew up,
comes
it was
first?
black first, woman second. I don't need to give a backstory.
Yeah, the same as for me. I am black first, only because again, perception. And I've always asked the question, what do we share as a guaranteed experience for being black? And the only thing that I can come up with my mind is guilty by association. And I revert back to Lucky's story. She's very fortunate to have that type of energy, but a lot of people are very unfortunate. But I just want to go down the rabbit hole on that, like alleviate them following you around, whether you look like a Dusty or whatever. Let something come up missing from the store, and it's you and the Asian girl and the Hispanic girl. They're gonna think it's you. And that's the guilty by association that we get because we're black. No matter if you are one of the good families in Chicago that's trying to do right, they don't talk about you. They just want to burn the whole Chicago off the map like there's no good people there trying to live their life. When they talk about Baltimore, where we live, they don't consider that the Harrises are trying to be different, trying to break the cycle, trying to do better, trying to do more. They just say Baltimore is a shithole, burn it off the map. And that's the consideration we don't get because of the color of our skin, the 3/5 of a person that we are. We supposed to be humans, but when they wrote their book, they didn't write us in as humans. So I completely share you guys' sentiment, but the world doesn't. And that's what's so insensitive about the whole thing.
Excellent perspective. Dusty, what about you?
I consider myself me, human, 6 feet tall, whatever. As far as perception, I never cared. I don't care what people see and what they think. I never did. I never will. They look at me. He ain't black. All right, cool. He ain't, or he's black and he's fine. Most people aren't good at thinking and their perceptions are off. They don't know what they're talking about anyway. So let them just keep thinking and feeling, and I just don't really care. When it does matter, then that's when it matters. I'll deal with it then. And just an example, let's just say I was in a mall and an Asian stole a watch and they're looking at me and they go get security and we think he got it. 5 minutes later, they find out I don't got it and the Asian guy got it. Your dumbass store is now $5,000 out of a watch. I think it's funny. Their stupidity lost them $5,000. So it's not like anybody's winning whatever this fake competition is over this race stuff. I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay. Akira, what about you?
Well, with me, I consider myself a person, human. I don't really look beyond the race thing because so much has gone on dealing with race. Especially for me to have went to a predominantly white school. I try to not put myself in them predicaments where I'm singled out or I'm in a predicament where I have to defend myself against another race. But to be honest, I feel that in this day and age, you have to protect yourself because now it's seem like it's going back into the older days where blacks are still considered dangerous. They feel like we're gonna do something everywhere we go. Um, I remember when I first started at my first job, I was spit at by a white woman. I was only 16, 17 years old, so I didn't really know how to react to it. So me, I just left. I just walked out and left. I didn't do nothing about it. But that was my first encounter with racism. So But I don't look at anything based on my color.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to. I think everybody's answer is pretty good. The reality is, whether we want to or not, we are identified by our race first, particularly where we are now. It just is what it is, and I think it has to be respected. I'm just disappointed with all the progress it looks like we make. We got so much more to go. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys indulging me on that. Really, really appreciate you guys. Did anybody else have a final comment before we move on to the next deal?
Yeah, when it comes to this thing, like I would challenge everyone on this panel and everyone who can hear my voice to understand it is what it is. In America, this is how it works. Is it bad? Yeah, it's horrible. But understand it. Don't think I'm gonna close my eyes and act like this ain't a thing. It is a thing. Like Brother Dusto said, yeah, these people gonna waste their time and they gonna lose the product. But the reality is, they gonna waste your time because they're gonna come in there. Law enforcement is gonna come. If you refuse to be illegally searched, they're gonna keep you there and they're gonna waste all your time. If people are like, well, just let them do what they're gonna do. No. You know what I mean? That is not what I put my life on the line for. No, that is not what I trained for. No, that is not what I did when I was a kid. No, I understand the Constitution. You ain't going to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? If you want, I tell you what, officer, 663, you can get everybody out here and have everybody empty their pockets, not just me. You know what I mean? So this is where we are. And if it comes down to it, I'm still going to fight it because the only thing that makes America great is the Constitution. And if we start giving up those freedoms, and that's it. Game over.
To piggyback off what DL Saint said regarding the cops and how they treat African Americans, I agree with him. But also with that being, we have to raise our young to know to tread lightly because they still look at us as different. Because if you look, there's been multiple videos online of children being encountered by cops, and cops don't treat our children like they're children. They treat them as they're just African Americans. They roughhouse them, grabbing them up, and I don't feel like that's fair.
You're right. It's not fair. It's illegal. And you notice the police are starting to calm down because they got cameras on now. So
Exactly.
we're making steps in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's time for you blacks to stop giving the police so much trouble, and then they won't have to do the things that they do to you.
That's one way to look at it. But I'm here to tell you. Oh, go ahead, Sir Charles.
My apologies. I just want to
y'all
speak.
know podcast is trolling y'all.
Mm-hmm. I was like, man, you know what I mean? I'm listening to this like, okay, bro. Can't even keep a straight face, but okay.
But you know, it's like if you take race and put anything else, that's just what we do as people. So some bad cops do some things, this is cops. Some black people do this thing, this is black people. Some white people do this thing, this is white people. And it's like we're not able, if enough of a people do something, then that's everybody. And it's easy to get that stereotype, and it's almost impossible to change that. You guys see where I'm coming from on that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of that is largely rooted in the fact that we don't know each other. We don't really know each other. I know black people who don't mingle with other races at all, or the mingling is very limited. And I've been blessed and very fortunate to have been mingling with other races my whole life. Now, who would have thought? Now I know y'all, Sir Hale, you probably can't picture it, but Sir Hale, Beacon Hill School was 50% white, damn near when I was a kid. It was like, so I had a lot of white kids that I went to school with, spent the night over their houses. These weren't bad people. Latinos, I grew up, they were teaching me Spanish. These weren't bad people. They had me, I'm at their kitchen, their dining room tables, eating dinner with them. Not bad people. The problem is we don't get to know each other. And so here's the thing. I want to touch on the fact that someone said, and I think, and I'm not trying to attack Lucky at all. She's a very intelligent woman, but she said that she's a woman first. Well, you can hide the fact that you're a woman if you wanted to. You can actually hide the fact that you're a woman. All these other attributes you can hide. You cannot hide the color of your skin. You could bleach the hell out of it and mess yourself up if you want. But at the end of the day, and that's why I say, it doesn't really matter sometimes what you think in your head. You got to be truthful with yourself and know what people see when they first see you. They see a black person. I can hide. They can see a black man or a black woman. I can hide whether I'm a man. I can hide that. But you ain't hiding that. You ain't hiding that. And so that comes with judgments until people get to know you. And so at the end of the day, it comes with working with confidence of knowing who you are and what kind of value you bring to the table or every room you walk in. And then once people get to know you, then they see, oh, this person isn't so bad.
I mean, I get what you're saying. That makes sense. But at the same time, I don't want to pretend like I like to make people put numbers on stuff, right? Because I don't want you to argue with your feelings and I don't want you to argue with your experiences. So I just want you to, put a number on it and tell me what percentage of this, what percentage of that. So since you said you grew up around all of these nice Mexicans and nice white people, what percentage of Mexicans and white people do you think have an affinity for black people or are just, not bigots towards them?
Bro, let me tell you something. And I could tell you that it's most of my clients in my business are white men who their only goal is to do business with people who do good business. They don't give a damn what color you are. It's green. Are you going to bring value to me? Are you a good person? Are you going to show up when you say you're going to show up? At the end of the day, a lot of this, and I don't want to sound like a coon or what have you, but this is my experience, right? What happens is
I was trying to avoid.
No, I don't care about that. Hey, because no, I'm telling you about my experience in my life, right? My experience is that most of my revenue have come from white folks. Now, when I've tried to do business with black folks, somebody else, there was we were on another show the other time, and I said, when you walk into a room full of white people and you see another black person, do you feel an affinity for that person? And that guy, I think it was, I want to say it because he ain't here tonight. He said he want to know what you're doing here. That's the top.
Oh, that wasn't me.
It wasn't you. No, I know who it was. But that's what you want to know first. What I'm doing here. And that has been my experience in while I'm doing business, is that people might prejudge you, but once you present value, then they want to see what's up. Now, so I will say I can't necessarily put a number on that, but I've been in white folks' homes. I've been in very personal spaces. I've done business with white folks, Latinos. I've done business with, and what they want now. You can't blame people for being tribal. If you're gonna Now, if Latinos are going to look out for Latinos first, you should expect that. If white people are going to look out for white people first, you should expect that. Let's take a lesson from that. See, we don't look out for each other first. Our first instinct is to tear you down, look you up and down. What the hell are you doing here?
I don't know what black folk y'all talking about, but they don't be in my circle. Looking me up and down like that, man, I had you removed from the spot. Stop it.
I was telling them about my experience at a Chamber of Commerce. I was telling them about my experience at a couple Chamber of Commerce events. I walk in.
Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah. Because as a business owner, I want to network in all the arenas. So I'm at a Chamber of Commerce event, and I walk in, there are about 40 white people, couple Latinos, and about 3 black people. All of the black people looked me up and down, as if I shouldn't have been there. And I actually struck conversations with white folks that night. I was looking for the black folks. Like, hey, can we, lock in?
Well, politics is a different animal too, bro.
So here's the thing. I got a cousin. He owns a construction company. Guess what? He's every time he takes a picture anywhere where he's doing business, networking with any type of people, he's usually the only black person in the picture. They own 80% of all businesses in America. It's not hard for me to accept the fact that most of the people that you do business with are white. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm asking you, That was a time when there was a bus company. They wanted black people's money too. They still wanted them to sit in the back of the bus. That happened. So that whatever you want to talk about money, take money out of it. I'm asking you, which is why I use words specifically. While you rolling your eyes, Lucky, I use words specifically. I said, put a number on it. What percentage of white people or Hispanics would you say have bigoted mindsets when it comes to black people? Not won't do business with, not won't shake your hand, not won't screw your daughter. Just have bigoted mindsets. They have prejudices against black people. Put a number on it.
But hold on. Let me jump in there real quick. I'll say it's a big.
Really quick, DL. I'm just trying to hold them to something really quick. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So I can't quantify it.
Okay.
There's no way.
There's
no way I can quantify it.
Okay.
But let me give it. Let me give it a shot. I would say the same. We put a number on it. The same number, whatever that number is, you want to put on white folks. That of being bigots against black folks, whatever, that same number holds true with black folks being bigoted against white folks or Armenians or Thai or Korean, right, or Nigerian, right? It is what it is. It's human nature. Now, here's the thing, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of the most racist people I know are black. Keeping it 100. When you're talking about, and you want to talk about prejudices and all that kind of stuff, yeah, please.
Sorry, guys. DL is removed for speaking truth. I will not allow it. We will not stand for it.
Hey, yeah, because I'm telling y'all, sometimes I drop facts, y'all. And here's the thing. It's the human condition. We all said that we want to be seen as human. It's the human condition. So many people overlook the facts. Y'all done heard the same thing. Little podcast. I know you heard what I heard. I was told. This is what I was told by the women I respect in my community, in my family growing up. Don't bring her home if what? She can't use my comb. Come on now. We won't get on it. That's who told me that.
If she don't co-sign alone. Listen to what I'm saying, though,
I think we're on the same page though, but I just don't gloss over that fact. Is what I want to point out.
We're not on the same page, and I'm gonna tell you why we're not on the same page, bro. Every week, Sir Hale invites somebody on this panel, and they say something that is absolutely not true. And then you know what happened? I tell them what they said, and they say, "I didn't say that." And then I go back and get the clip, and they don't want to acknowledge that they actually said that.
Is it me this week?
No, DL just said,
"Oh,
yeah, he will quantify the number of black people that are bigoted towards white people as equal to the number of white people that are bigoted towards black people." Meanwhile, it's 160 million of them in the country and only 40 million of us. How is it even possible that number could be the same?
I would say I'm saying the percentage. You said give a number. What percentage? That percentage, whatever number, that percentage is 40%, 30%, 20%, 80%, 90%, whatever that percentage is, would hold true in all communities. That's what I'm saying.
That would still be less of us, though. And that
but
was
percentage. Percentage means per capita. That means it doesn't matter how many it is. It's based on percentage of that number.
Exactly, but that would still make it less of us.
But so, Pocket, so
knowing
that it's per capita, it doesn't mean it's less.
Well, that's what you want to do. I'm doing that. Well, that's what you want to do. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing how y'all.
That's what you asked for, a percentage.
No, it's not.
Guys, you said percentage.
You said put a number on it.
Yeah, I said put a number on it.
Are you guys able to hear? Like, guys, like I want to reel it back in. Like, Podcast, what's the point of that question though, of putting a number on it?
Because this is what we try to do. Like he just said that the percentage would be the same. Well, if it's 40%, right? 10% of 40 million is 4 million. Multiply that by 4, that's 16 million. If it's 40% of 160 million, you see where I'm going? That means way more racist or bigoted, not racist, but way more bigoted white people, right, towards black people than blacks towards white, which means we would endure it more, which means it would have more of an effect on us. So a lot of these things that we see in the community, we see that based on what black people are dealing with consistently, and not all of it is caught on camera. And that was my only point about that.
Okay, anybody want to respond to this point, and then we're going to pivot.
I just want to make one last point. It has to be percentage because the actual number is too far off. So it has to play out in percentages. Mm-hmm. And I agree with DL essentially because based on my experience, I have experienced some racism, But I tell you, largely, my experience is first and foremost, people want to see how you are first. And I've been invited into countless homes. I mean, I have very personal relationships with man, hundreds of people outside of my race. And I think a lot of times we have these conversations and they perpetuate the divisiveness between the races. But all in all, I really feel like most people just want to be around good people. That's it. Most people want to be around good people.
Then you can't say at the same time that people are tribal. It's one of the
We
other.
are tribal.
Okay, then. So
we are tribal.
You and I are both from Chicago. We know that Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the country.
And that's what I'm saying, though.
Hispanics over here, blacks over here, whites over here, Russians over there, Jews over there, Chinese over there.
First and foremost, here's what we get sidetracked is we get upset because Chinese look out for Chinese people, Latinos look out for Latino people, Polish look out for Polish people, white people look out for white people, and we're like, well, what about us? We should look out for each other. That's our fault. It ain't nobody else's fault. It ain't nobody else's fault that we cut each other down. That's us. We got so much cleaning up to do inside our own crib, but we looking for a solution outside the crib. And
I can't argue with that, but that's not what we're talking about.
You blame others. You always try to blame others. That's the way I see it.
What I would ask you was this: have you ever heard the saying that if you want to know what somebody really think about you, make them mad? So these white people that you was having these dinners with and all of that, did you ever have a situation where they were mad at you?
Yeah, we had differences, but it's communication.
That saying doesn't make any sense. But it's like, you want to know what people think, make them mad.
Yes, because people act like they like you, right? I could name some names from YouTube. People act like they like you, right, when they're trying to use you. But then once you disappoint them or you make them mad, what they really feel about you come out then. And all the names and everything else. And with white people, it's a lot of stuff,
that's people in general, though.
That's in general. That's in general.
What I'm saying is that I think it's the same thing where a black person, you piss them off of your other culture, the first thing they bringing up is race. The same thing we think that when we piss them off or certain things happen, they're not going to bring up race. We bring up triggers because we're being disrespectful. We're pissed off. It's the same thing when you're drunk. You get liquid courage. You start saying certain things that you normally wouldn't say. I don't think that's race specific. That's just people.
Yeah, hurt people, right?
Who made it race specific?
You said you specifically said a white person, a black person.
I didn't. I asked him about his encounter with white people. That does not mean that I'm making it race specific. I'm asking him a specific question about his specific encounters with specific people. That does not have any revelations on what my true opinion is, or that I'm making it race specific. It does not do that.
I would like to say this. This is why, as a community, we have such a hard time getting past this, right? It's all smoke and mirrors. How long we done spend on this? 15, 20 minutes. This ain't even going anywhere, brother. You know what I mean? This ain't going nowhere. And I'll give you a perfect example. I'm a retired air traffic controller, right? Black folks. I see you over there, rich man. I see you over there with the white folks. All right, bro. Hey, 6 months from now, there's going to be a hire to get into the FAA. You don't need anything but a high school diploma. You can get in. Go on my web. I'm not trying. This is not a shameless plug, but just so you know, I'm not lying. Me and my buddy Jay Swans did at least 2 videos on how to apply to become an air traffic controller in the FAA. This job, that career changed my life, changed my daughter's life, and everyone's life moving forward. Do you know how many brothers took the advice and we said, call me up, man. Here's my number. Hit me up. I'll help you get on. You know how many brothers took advantage of this opportunity versus how many white folks took advantage of this opportunity? I'll let you think of it on your own. I'm here to tell you it was more white folks that hit me up, called me up, hit him up, waitresses, people working at Starbucks. Hey, I saw that video. Hey, I have a question. What's the series again? It's 2152. This is how you do it. Okay, do I need to update this? Yeah, you need to go back and update that. Trying to help black folks. But the same black people gonna sit here and say the white man holding you down. He think this or that, and he think that about you. Make you mad and see what really happens. Bro, smoke and mirrors. You cranking out a lot of smoke and putting up a lot of mirrors. Meanwhile, you still sitting where you sitting, my brother. You know what I mean? I'm sitting where I want to sit. I came out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I came out of the same thing you living in. Right? How did I get there? By treating people the way I wanted to be treated. If somebody crossed me, they got dealt with. But anybody who treated me on the right, on the good level, right? They put me on, I put them on. And to this day, I be trying to put our people on, and I'm telling you, it's much, much harder than it should be, my brother. Why? Too much smoke and mirrors, right?
No,
this world is changing.
It's the truth. Let me tell you something that's the truth, and this is really honest. I guarantee you, bro. I can go outside tomorrow. We can go live, and I will walk down the street and just talk to young black men specifically. They don't want to work with white people.
I can't help them. I can't help them.
Hold on. Understand where I'm coming from. See, y'all doing it now. This is my point. Where I was giving him pushback on his experience, using his experience to quantify what black people deal with when it comes to dealing with other races. Because in all honesty, Mexicans is some of the most racist people I've ever encountered in my life. But that's another story.
I'm gonna make sure I tell my daughter she's racist. As soon as we get done, I tell her half of her is racist.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. This kind of going to a weird place, but let me say this, and then we're gonna move on. Let me be honest with you. DL, I put it in the back chat. You an air traffic controller? Send me $30. That's the first thing. The second thing is
I sent you 10 more, bro. I already sent you 20.
I'll give you a hard time. So look,
Sir Hale, hold on. This is important. What I'm about to say.
I'm gonna say this, and then it's all you, bro.
No, I'm not even finna go there either. I want you to know I'm not finna go where you think I'm going.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going in a different direction. When I said that they don't want to work for white people, what I'm trying to tell you is this: the same way how white people get to go to white people to get jobs. Mexicans get to go to Mexicans to get jobs. Asians get to go to Asians to get jobs. Black people want to be able to go to black people to get jobs because we want to be able to work with people who already understand us. It's the same situation that we see in the school system, right? The people who have went and got the degrees talk about this all the time. So this ain't little podcast thinking, right? Because the podcast stupid, he can't know shit. But one of the biggest issues that we have in our schools today is that 70 to 80% of the people teaching the kids is white women. And they don't resonate with the black boys in the school. So the first time they do any little thing, he's slow, he retarded, he LD, he this, he that, he a behavior problem, any of that. Soon as they do any little thing, now it's a whole problem. And why is that? Because it's Becky in there dealing with him instead of it being Bertha in there dealing with him or Rashawn in there dealing with him, because they already understand from a cultural perspective. And what I'm saying is that same thing plays out in employment. So you have black people that come from a certain type of culture and they get into these environments where they're not cultivated to deal with the level of arrogance and micromanagement that comes when you working in a facility where it's all Mexican people running it or it's all white people running it. And they just want you to kowtow. They want you to put your head down, tuck your tail in between your leg, take orders like a good little slave. If you try to think for yourself, then they label you a tyrant. And they try to get you out of there. So if we're talking about experiences,
hold on, guys.
Those people don't want to work.
Guys, listen.
They're lying to you.
There it is.
And there it is. You guys got to listen to the host.
Yeah. They don't want to work.
Yeah. Are you guys, it's only the fellas, the ladies are good. Are you guys unable to hear me? Like, I want to make sure I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole. But the truth is, a lot of times we are afraid to work with white people because we're taught to be afraid to work with white people. That's the real truth. We pass this stuff down. Them white folks over there let you come from a impoverished community and then move to the suburbs. What's the first thing you're gonna hear? Well, y'all know we live around them white folks now. Like, we perpetuate this stuff. And what I've seen, and this is coming from the hood. Like, I'm talking about projects. I'm talking about my kids. Look. I didn't know what roaches was. I'm like, these are some mega ants. Like, these are mega ants. These are some army ants. Because I didn't know what roaches was, but I learned when I moved to the hood, right? And then in Texas, them roaches ain't little bitty baby roaches. Them roaches is like birds or something.
Man,
I don't know what
things
is. Like, they be on a wall, and then you think you bold, and they just come flying down, and you run. Listen, I've been through it. Once we move from that particular place to another place, the fear of all that stuff, the white folks over there, you know what I mean? It circles in your head. And then you start talking to them white folks, The white folks is one thing that matters. You successful? How can we talk? Anybody who's put me on, I'm being real with you, that's put me on to jobs that I've gotten. It's been people who don't look like me. And this is not to say that anything was wrong, but hustle respects hustle. Now, of course, we want to, because there is racism that does exist, and none of us can deny that. We want to open up opportunities. But when you get to a certain place, some people believe that if podcast is successful, that on account of them being black, you give them an opportunity because y'all are both black, and their hustle might not be what yours is. And it's the same thing with other cultures as well. That's why I said once you get into the money game, it's hustle respects hustle. And race still plays a factor, but that's not the only or even the main factor in a lot of cases. Do you guys agree with this? And then once we do that, then we're going to move on to the next
I don't
topic.
even know what I'm confused because most people
There's a
just work a
go
job.
ahead.
Like it's not even about no hustles or no money game. Like most people get up and go to work every day. And so that's what I'm saying. Like when they go into these jobs, right? 80% of the time they working for somebody that don't look like them, that don't come from their culture. And what I'm saying is when Sir Charles gave what was his experience, right? Nobody had any pushback. I just gave you what was my experience. Why is there any pushback? Am I lying? Are you calling me a liar? I can bring 4 to 5 or 6 more people on the panel. So if I bring 4, 5, 6 more people on the panel and tell you they experienced these same things, where they were working with white people and they were bigots and they were racist and they were trying to get you out of that job. They didn't want you in that position. You making more money than the white boy standing next to you, and they do not like that. So now do I get to say, this is my whole point, do I get to say that is indicative of the black experience dealing with white people? If you say no, then thank you, because you make my argument against Sir Charles using his experience to say that was indicative of what most black people experience with white people, because it's not. We don't experience sitting down at their dinner tables and spending nights at their house singing Kumbaya and whatever the Mexican Christmas celebration is. We don't, most of us not getting that, especially in Chicago. We weren't.
And
I can tell you what we were getting.
What was the question? The actual question?
It wasn't a question. I was responding to what Sir Charles said.
I was saying Sir Hale's question. Like, just what was the original question?
Well, I'm just talking about the experience that when you get to a certain class, it's more about your hustle than it is about your color. Have you guys seen that? Now, again, this is not to dismiss the fact that there is racism. There's just no way around this. This is why most large companies, what do you call it? It's what do you call it? Diversity training.
Oh yeah, diversity.
Yeah, this is such a big thing at jobs and corporations, because it is. But a lot of this is hand-me-down stuff. We are force-fed how to think about people of other cultures and races, and then we carry that. And the biggest thing that I've noticed, people hold these beliefs about people they've never met. There was a study that was done. I forgot what race, but there was a particular race of people who had heard or seen black people on social media. But what did they see? They didn't see the college going. They didn't see the upstanding, the family oriented. They saw the rappers and the people who were, committing crime. And based off of what's on media, their whole perception of an entire group of people that they had met was based off of media. And this is like what I think happens. We get our perspectives from other people and we haven't met them. And we carry those biases, and we therefore create the type of ideas about people based off of we're treating them like we perceive them, not like we know them. And I think that's why, like what Sir Charles said, we got to get to know people.
And I think that's good that you pointed out the media part too, because when I lived in Iowa, like the middle of Iowa, right next door to Minnesota, them white people was some of the nicest white people I ever met in my life. Now we had a couple of down there that was bigoted, but I mean, everybody spoke, everybody waved, everybody would give you the shirt off their back, whatever it is. They had clothes drives, food drive, housing, everything. They looked out for each other in those smaller white towns. And even down here in Kentucky, I've come across a bunch of nice white people, but I've also had the horrible experiences too. And I just hate that we try to make it seem like, well, this black guy made it to $1 million, so that means these other things don't exist anymore. Like that's just.
But if we take that logic, podcast, and I'm trying to move on, guys. But if we take that logic though, and this is just me being let's keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. For every person that doesn't look like your color, you can say treated you that way. I guarantee you there's one that looked like you who treated you the same way. And the only reason we're not as critical about them is because we share the same color. right?
I'm critical. The dude who shot me was black.
You see what I'm saying? So this boils down to a people thing, and then even deeper, a heart thing. And I think if we can work on our humanity, I think we can get past a whole lot of this stuff. All right. So I think we wrap this up in a bow. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's do this real quick, y'all. Shout out to hold on. Ain't nobody sent no super love, no super chat. Y'all some disrespectful people. Disrespectful people. Let me show some love to the one of the only D.O. Saint with a 20-piece. He said, I'm not only going to drop a 20-piece, I'm going to help you to become an air traffic controller. So let me send you another 10-piece for the school. Much appreciated, sir. I truly appreciate it. I'm going to matriculate very soon. Let's play this, pick it up, and then we'll be right back to the next segment right after this.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shitty, my bros raw.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to make these questions. I'm going to try to get us out of here in like the next hour. So let's start with here. So Drake has a new album out. He does a song. He's getting some criticism because he pretty much suggests that Meg Thee Stallion, that she really did get shot for it. He makes a backhanded comment about that. My question for you guys is anything off limits today? You know what I mean? Will people go through their traumas? Is anything off limits? And if you are somebody famous, is it just free game on the basis that you are somebody famous? What do you guys think about that?
Man, nothing's off limit, man. You think about FDR, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt, probably one of the greatest American presidents in the history of America, right? You know, got us through World War II. America didn't know he was paralyzed. The news didn't report on it. It was a gentleman kind of agreement. You know what I mean? He would put on his braces, and sometimes he would walk. He always had Secret Service holding him up. They would shoot the camera angles a certain way because they didn't want him to be looked on as a certain, like as half a man. Because, back then, it was no PC, whatever. But if that were the case today, right, everybody be taking shots. I mean, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? We could be fighting the Martians. They would still be taking shots. So I think it's all, you know what I mean? Again, people want that attention. It's all up for grabs.
Yeah, there's nothing off limits until you offend the people who are in power. Then that's off limits. At the end of the day, I mean that is the era that we in. We in the information age where people you could turn on the camera and reach the whole world. You know what I mean? I mean, so you could say anything that's on your mind, and that's fine until you offend the people who are in power. Now, that whole I didn't hear the song with Drake and Meg Thee Stallion, but I have heard that there was some untruths told in that situation. But my whole thing was that I didn't hear what's his name, the guy, Tory Lanez. I never heard him deny that he shot her. I didn't hear him deny it. Did anybody else hear that he denied it? Okay. Well, I didn't hear that he denied it. So that would have been my first response. If I didn't do it, I'm on the next morning. This shit crazy.
I didn't follow the show, but I know Fresh and Fit did, and they were saying that his response to the police was like, I didn't do it, and apparently there was like some broken glass or something like that she stepped on or whatever. I didn't follow it because it's nonsense. I don't. Again, smoke and mirrors, y'all. Smoke and mirrors. Stay away from it.
Hey, that reminds me really quick. Hold on, really quick. I want to make a point that Saida mentioned earlier, and she was talking about why she didn't understand why we bring up celebrity gossip. Whereas, so when we talk about issues or issues that everyday American or whatever experience, you have to use somebody who's in the limelight as an example because everybody knows what's going on with that. Nobody knows. Necessarily, nobody knows the average Joe that might be experiencing that. But you could look at a situation that was in the public eye and we could use that as a point of conversation. So that I think that's largely why now people love celebrity gossip. It's like sugar and salt. It's like it tastes good. People love celebrity gossip, but also nobody knows Pookie and Ray Ray. Nobody knows Bonquisha. Nobody knows, you know what I'm saying? But everybody knows Tory Lanez, and we know what happened with that situation. So I think that's why we use celebrities a lot of times in our discussions.
Shout out to Bonquisha.
Who in the hell is Tory Lanez?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Dosta. I have no idea.
Is it Tony?
Shout out to Stephen Vidal. Hashtag
I
Pod
no clue what
Squad
they're
in the
talking
building, baby. Pod Squad is in the building. We taking over. But Sir Charles, I got a question. Who is the people in power?
Oh! I just talked about that on the show. Okay, well, I don't even know. Can we say the word on? People so scared to say it. I don't want to mess her Hale up.
Yeah, no, man, don't say it. If you gotta hesitate, don't even say it, bro. The people in power is the 1%, bro. It's the 1%. But you ain't on yours though. This is Sir Hale's platform, right?
Right. And I want to be respectful. So, but at the end of the day, I got a question for the panel, really quickly. What is the problem with them being in power? What? And I don't know. Maybe I sound like a coon when I'm asking that. But
that's another rabbit hole. Do we want to go down that rabbit hole, Sir Hale? That's another rabbit hole.
I'm gonna keep my comment.
Yeah, guys. Hey, guys. Guys.
I'm gonna keep my comment to myself.
So, guys, anytime we we know we try to have more intellectual conversations. So, if you have something to say, nobody's gonna perceive you as a coon or anything of that nature. So.
Yeah. No, I like smoke. I like to roll the windows up and turn the heat on because I want to argue smoke. Let's hot box. But I mean, the podcast. I want to know what's your point about bringing them up in power? We already know who got the power. What we need to do is we know everybody knows.
Don't be presumptuous. People get canceled for being presumptuous. Don't be presumptuous. You don't know what people know. We just had 2 people sit on the panel and tell us they don't know who Tory Lanez is. So you can't be presumptuous. So I'm gonna need you to tell the people who you were speaking of when you said the people in power.
The question is, is anything off limits when it comes to people's trauma? Is it, especially when you're in power or people know you? Is anything off limits?
Okay, Sir, you're a bull.
That was his question. Now
that was the question.
That's crazy.
Now, listen, as we get towards the end of the show, we can ask those, but I want to make sure I get through these questions and I keep everybody here all night.
Yeah. And I really want to hear from the sisters. It's rare that I get to see a healthy number of sisters on the panel. I really want to hear y'all take on all this.
It's just jokes.
Bless you.
It's just jokes.
I'm just saying, like podcast, like here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Just jokes. I don't mean it.
I hear what you're saying, and here's anybody know me, they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I said, in this space, we get guys who like to, men are very opinionated. As sisters here, I really want to hear what they have to say.
No, I agree with you on that. I do.
And all the sisters like, I really ain't got much to say today.
No, it's just
that conversation alone. Y'all too, no.
Yeah, it just gets thrown into another loop, and then we sitting here, and
then
like,
we
what
exit
was
stage left. That's
where
the
like, what are we
conversation.
talking about this for?
So, DLC, just so you know, let me let the chat know.
Lucky I get it.
Guys, so we're more conservative on screen. Now, once the show ends and we in the back chat, it's a whole different story. So sometimes you see the back chat bleeding to what we do here, but that's pay-per-view. So we're gonna keep it simple right here. But ladies, what you think? Can I ask you guys? Let me just answer this and then answer the question. Do you guys think that Tory Lanez actually did this? Like, and the reason I'm asking this is because in this culture, if somebody says something happened, it happened. Forget proof, forget evidence, forget, there being a judgment. Is somebody said it, we got to believe them. I wish you guys to start on this, and then we can answer the question, is anything off limits, especially when you are a public figure?
Can you explain who this person is and what he did? Because I have no idea.
Tory
He's
Lanez
a rapper.
Shot Meg Thee Stallion.
He's a rapper. He's a rapper.
I'm just gonna say he's innocent until proven guilty.
Hold on. Let's let Lucky actually explain who he is, so Saida knows.
Yeah, I was saying Tory Lanez is an artist slash producer who allegedly was shot Meg Thee Stallion, and they were dating because she was sleeping with him behind her friend's back, who was also in the car. So the story goes, we don't know who shot her. It was either the friend or him, but then also their information came out. It says she never was shot. She just stepped on glass, and he's saying she's scorned and she's lying on him, but her attorney is saying that they have evidence that he actually confessed to something happening on her phone. So that's just the story.
Okay. Now I have another question. The person you mentioned earlier, Takeoff, that's a rapper too.
Oh,
And
wow.
who killed
Takeoff,
him?
yes.
Who
Yes,
killed
Takeoff.
him?
Are you familiar with
Different story. Different story.
Yeah, no. I have a point of my questions. The one that you explained, look, is he black?
Yeah, all these are hip hop black artists. Yes.
And the one that was killed, that is also black, was killed by a black man.
Yes.
They're killing each other. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to that a little bit later.
Y'all
Here's what it
killing
is.
each other. Okay.
Yeah, we're all killing each
You see?
other. I mean,
no. That's the way I see it. You see, like whatever you're discussing, like who the person is, the money they have, the way I see it, you cannot avoid people from the outside looking at it like killing each other. Instead of supporting each other, there wasn't, and just putting some gasoline on this fire. There's no white man killing these people. There's no Asian person coming to kill these people. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Okay, that's not where I'm going. I'm saying that that's the point, that we were talking about earlier.
You don't have to give disclaimers. We understand what's going on. I just think it's unfair that because you don't obviously look like us or from where we're from, that you feel you have to give disclaimers, but when we speak on your culture, we don't. So
you definitely don't. Yes, sister, you don't have to give disclaimers at all. And it's just like, it's not black folks killing folks down there where you are. It's MS. They look like you. You know what I mean? And when you get to a certain, level. You know what I mean? It's the MS down there. If you go into certain parts of Mexico, it's 13th Street over there. 13. You know what I mean?
Caucasian communities is little cliques that do the crime. So crime is.
Oh yeah, you don't think the mob's still doing their thing? Armenians are doing their thing. Everybody's doing their thing.
The moment that I say that I'm not from your country, I get like I am an immigrant or I want to be in the U.S.
Guys, listen. Listen. When you guys come to Say Hell Network, here's my ask for anybody who comes here. You ain't got to bring nothing else you deal with anywhere else on here. I try to give everybody a fair shot. You are a person, and we respect you as that when you come here. Okay, right. So you ain't got to say what you hear, because my chat ain't like that. I don't think you see anybody in the chat like that. If they did, my mods are, I don't want to say the word. I don't want to get banned, but they're thugs, and they block people for little stuff. But
yeah, but she can't really. She can't really effectively speak on the situation because she don't know who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
I don't know who they are either.
Act like everything just went left, and I'm lost and confused and don't know what's going on now.
Yeah. So the question was, this is because everybody got.
I was just about to say I was going to respond to your question.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get back to the question, and really all it is when you're a public figure, is anything off limits?
No, nothing is off limits when you're a public figure, because to be honest, half of the celebrities out there putting it all on social media in the first place. And about Tory Lanez, if he was innocent, he's innocent to proven guilty. Even though they say they got evidence, we don't technically know. It's hearsay. So you can't speak on something if you technically don't know. You're not sitting in that office with him and his lawyers and her lawyers. You're not the cops that did the investigation, so we can't technically speak on any of the situation. Same with Takeoff. You can't really speak on the situation just because this is a little clip that's going around. That clip was like 5-6 seconds long. You don't know exactly what happened, so you can't speak on it. It's hearsay.
I don't think anything's off limits when you reach a certain level of success. I think if you look at, there's an echo. I don't know why, but anyway, I think if you look at different genres of music, they all say things that if we listen to the words, we could say was going too far, especially in hip hop. Certain things become punchlines. Certain people can say certain things to make it catchy. So it's the same way where I forgot what rapper that was, used the Columbine situation to reference how he's in there and he aired this whole situation out. And people felt away based on him using that. But when you have lyrical poets, they use certain things to get a wow factor, to get views, to get more people listening to it and all of that things, because it's a numbers game. I don't think anything is off limits. If we're in a society where we can pick up our phones to see somebody dying out, and as we're recording, we're saying someone called the police, there's nothing off limits. Everything is just open when it comes to us. Like we see trauma all the time, and it's not a problem.
Anybody else?
Harris Trap.
I'll jump in. I think it's the level of maturity of the dog in the fight per se. I think we do know some things are off limits. Our children, wives, husbands, grandparents, certain things are just, shouldn't be, kiss and tell. Certain things are just tells the quality of your character. But in these days and times, it's a little different. But in this, story you're alluding to, this Meg the Stallion person and Tory Lanez, I'm not incredibly familiar with them, but I know who they are. I know the story. I go with what's logical. And it's way more logical, even if somebody per se got shot, it's way more logical that a man and a woman that's in a relationship, the woman is going to get shot by the other woman that's in the relationship with the man versus the man that's in a relationship with two women. I don't think he's going to shoot a woman that he's sleeping with, either or. It's just not logical. It's not what men do. We actually like the fact that we can sleep with two women simultaneously that are friends. But logically, two female friends may have some sort of a discourse, especially at their level of, echelon of finances and so on and so forth. They may have a little bit of a situation. So me personally, being an urban fella, a car with three people in it, two of them are friends who are dating one man. I'm thinking it's more logical that the two ladies got into a situation and maybe one of them pulled out a gun and shot somebody else. And that situation happened. So the specifics, I could care less about. The people, I could care even lesser about. But, the whole story of a lover's triangle, a woman scorned, all of these things are classic tales. And I just go with, what's logical versus, the narrative that's presented.
Anybody else want to respond to this?
I think that it comes with the territory of being a celebrity. But should some things be off limit? Maybe. I mean, I don't. If I'm being honest, maybe we shouldn't care as much. But it's just like I think we were talking about this not too long ago. Me and Tommy B from Convo with Tommy B, Convo and Chill with Tommy B, about how I'm a hypocrite when it comes to my thinking on this, because I remember when Kanye was going off on the paparazzi back in the day, and I said, "Well, like Kanye, you signed up for this." You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that celebrities sometimes call y'all to let y'all know they're gonna be in certain places so that y'all show up, right? But then when you don't feel like dealing with it, now you don't want them to do their job. But then at the same time, it's like when I see them in situations where people are going through something for real, and then they still treating it, you know what I'm saying, like it's really nonchalant, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So is it off limits? No. Should it be? Yeah. But I would also like to say this one more time. For all you guys on YouTube that like to pull videos of other people's mothers, sisters, baby mamas, wives, aunties, to show them off and make fun of them and talk about where they wrong at, talk about y'all mamas too. Talk about y'all grandmamas. Talk about y'all aunties, y'all sisters, y'all cousins, y'all wives. Talk about them too. Don't just spend your whole time on YouTube talking about everybody else. Talk about yourself. Talk about your people too.
That's a fair point. Anybody else want to respond to this?
Yeah, really quickly, I want to jump in and say that, a picture came out of Meg the Stallion's feet, and I can't say, in all honesty, that I wouldn't have pulled out the ooh-wop and let a couple of rounds off in them mofos myself, because they look dead. They look dead anyway. I'm just saying. let off a couple, just I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Is anything off limits? I think that's a prime example of it's not.
I'm sorry.
As a foot connoisseur myself, I am so glad that I've never seen her feet if they that bad as you say they are.
Terrible. Hey, terrible.
Oh my God.
So to those to the family of Meg Thee Stallion.
When it's about to fall off.
All right, so let's just go ahead. Let's move from this quickly. I'm gonna have to do a press release very soon after this. So let me play the super chat song to the family of Meg Thee Stallion. I want to apologize to you.
I'm sorry.
Let me play this. Let me play the super chat song.
Super chat.
Wow.
He said the baby navel. Oh God.
Y'all are sick.
Okay, guys. So hold on a second, Joe.
Y'all are something else. Don't forget to hit that like button.
Hey, let me ask this question off camera real quick. So you guys seen what happened with? And I want to be real quick about this one.
Oh no!
So you guys saw Kyrie Irving. Of course, he got suspended from the NBA. Hello, Stinky. Hello. So he got suspended from the NBA because he retweeted something that was anti-Semitic. Now, of course, it needs to be said, we respect everybody. But my question to everybody is, he shared something, but it's not his platform in any of the cases. So my question is, if he's held responsible, should anything that's, selling that movie, promoting that movie, should they also be accountable as well? Or should this be isolated because Kyrie is part of the NBA and he should know better than to use his platform to promote something like that? What do you guys think about that?
Did he know what he was promoting?
Yes.
Knowing Kyrie Irving, I would absolutely say yes.
If he knew, then you gotta deal with the consequences. Like, it is what it is.
Here's the irony, though, DL, and I don't like saying that. I'm gonna call you Saint. Here's the irony: nobody has said what's anti-Semitic about it. Not one person.
No, actually, they have, and what it is the movie has a lot of different roots that speak against a certain group of people. What it promotes in there, what it's suggesting in terms of slavery. So the movie in itself, it's deeply entrenched into that. So what people are assuming is that people who have watched that would know what it is, and by Kyrie sharing that, him sharing that is somehow him promoting that, or right. And this is in the wake of stuff that Kanye has said. So it's all of this mixture of stuff.
The idea that black people were the original Hebrews, that's anti-Semitic.
No, not that part. That's not the part. No,
that's what they're saying. So yeah,
that's what I'm.
But that's not it.
If they're gonna hold him accountable, yes, Jeff Bezos should be held accountable too, because he's the one.
But we know why.
But no, I don't just mean that though. Like the bigger question is, I'm noticing that players like you share something responsible for what you shared, but what it's attached to, right? Is like when I hear the word accountability, all parts are not held accountable. It's just we're gonna make an example out of one particular person. That's really what I'm getting at. Do you guys see that?
When it comes to us doing anything publicly, it's always making an example out of us. It's always extreme. It's always overly done. But then when something comes out of the woodworks of something that we didn't know, whether it's a politician or anything like that, we talk about it, but nobody is technically canceled. We do a good job of canceling our own people in real life and when it comes to entertainment. I think that he wouldn't have anything to share if it wasn't out there. So what is the point of sharing a movie that you thought was good? We see a lot of times that they depict stories in the Bible, everybody is white. Like, so are we anti anything? You know what I'm saying? We see a lot of movies that depict the wrong type of story. It's based on a true story. It's all these. So what's the difference in that, other than the fact that kind of what Sir Charles was alluding to earlier? If you talk about, you just can't talk about a certain group of people if they want a particular message out there. They can't have too much information of people thinking for themselves. That's just how.
Bingo.
Talk about it, Lucky.
There's videos all across YouTube about that same stuff.
100%. I mean, I'm gonna keep this real quick because it's quick. In America, only certain people are allowed to profit off of pain. And that's the bottom line. And we are not one of those people who are allowed to do so. Whenever we even find baking soda, they find a whole way to just shut everything down because we're not allowed to profit off of pain. And the reason I'm going to back that up is because on Labor Day, they show us roots on Labor Day. So is that to say, look, we got free labor out of y'all. On Labor Day, we're going to show this movie. But on Veterans Day, they show roots. And on Independence Day, they show roots. So again, only certain people are allowed to profit off of pain. And if Amazon is allowed to have the movie up, Bezos is allowed to run Amazon, but Kyrie is the one getting punished, is because only certain people are allowed to profit off of pain.
Because they're mandingos. If you ever seen, not to even say that, but if you ever seen some truths and stuff, players and athletes and entertainers, they're puppets. You don't think for yourself. We tell you what you can do. Once you try to be independent, owning every single thing, and you have the money to do it, now you can sit in those places where you can negotiate things. But for the most part, you still a puppet. So you don't really get that type of freedom. I don't care how much money you got, unless you really, really free, like sitting up there, part of the elites where you moving strings as well. And most of the people's strings you moving are also your own people. Just want to.
It matters because nobody knew what this documentary was until he tweeted it. That's the whole point. He used his word. Exactly. His word matters. You know what I'm saying? He's a person
that's the key.
Known for thinking.
That's the key.
Right. He's a person that's known for thinking and thinking and believing what he wants to believe that makes sense to him, regardless of what many people would think about that. Like he's one of those flat earthers.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said that Kyrie Irving is known for thinking.
Yes.
Or do you mean he's known for having thoughts? Because that's two different things, my brother.
Yeah,
he doesn't sound like a critical thinker because he's falling prey to their game.
You just changed it. See, this is what I'm talking about. People with this slick talk. You went from thinking to critical thinking. Those two different things. I said he's a thinker, and he is.
So I'm saying no. I'm saying he has thoughts. I will agree to that. He has some thoughts.
In order to have a thought,
but having thoughts and being a thinker are two different things, then, bro. No, you know what I mean. If you're saying
having thoughts and being a critical thinker is two different things. But in order to even process a thought, you must think it first.
How'd you come up with the thought if you didn't think it?
Exactly.
Hold on, y'all. We definitely not going down this one. We
I'm
definitely,
sorry,
definitely not about to do this one.
I just want people to speak matter of factly. That's
hold on, podcast.
I'm speaking matter of factly. Kyrie Irving is known for being a basketball player, bro. He's not known for being any kind of a thinker.
Guys, hold on. Like I thought that we were thinking about something we were thinking about. We thought about
right
when we were thinking about it. So let's move to the let's finish it up. Finish it up here, because I don't want to go down this rabbit hole of philosophy. My head will start hurting.
What I'm saying is this, Sir Hale. When we think about Kyrie Irving, you're gonna hear to talk about his basketball prowess. He's pretty good at basketball, right? But what are they usually talking about when they talking about Kyrie Irving? It's always something drama. He said this. He said that. He believed it.
I think that's how media, though, has created a narrative. You hear it enough that he's drama, and you assume that it's drama. Yep. And I do think that he has his own thoughts. I do think that he's a thinker. Now, whether or not his thoughts align with what other people believe, I think that's debatable. But I think he's a very cerebral kind of brother. And
hold on, no, you can't say that because I said that means you have to be a critical thinker. I said he's a thinker, and then I got y'all telling, well, you can't say critical thinker. Everyone thinks, bro.
Well,
Everyone thinks.
Well,
y'all didn't say that. Y'all didn't say that.
Influence other people to think.
He said, "Y'all didn't
You know
say
what,
that."
guys? I thought about it. I want to do something else. So I tell you what, we gonna wrap up on this question, and then we go switch. Anybody else want to respond to this? And I think the biggest thing here, that the biggest takeaway is in 2022, you simply have to be careful with your influence. If you have influence, you do have power, whether you want to have it or not. What do you guys think about that?
I think people should be able to think for themselves, right?
I thought we were past this.
No, I'm saying, like, if I share something, right, like Lucky made a great point, which y'all know I hate to admit to that, but Lucky made a great point. If I share 12 years a slave right now, am I gonna get in any trouble for that?
I'm going to report your channel.
If Kyrie would have shared 12 years a slave, is he gonna get it? No, but it's okay for us to go watch them beat the skin off of a black woman. That's cool, right? But somebody come around and saying, well, you know,
it's cool to see a white Jesus.
Hebrews, that's a problem.
No. And let me tell you what I think. I think is the time. Like, so Ye saying something that is what Ye said, and then you got another person saying that. I think this, to me, do you guys think that this was preventative, where we want to get ahead of this right now so that nothing else happens?
Don't start a movement. Don't start people looking into stuff to where they'll get a backing. That always happens when you're talking too much and you talking in the right. What do we see? They don't even really cancel them. We just see post memes already pre-made to go, because this is what we about to do. Now we see Big Lots, or what is the place? Goodwill not accepting Yeezys. Like, who said that? If I take Yeezys to Goodwill in my city, they don't take it. But when you're looking at social media, people who can't get off social media, they are going to let you believe these people don't want this. They don't want this. They don't want this. We don't know. I think before they take a step, especially us, if you're a big influencer, we've seen it all the time. It's not even them that we have to worry about. It's us being sellouts of our own people that's not going to say, hey, they paying me, so you need to be quiet. That's the problem. It's never nobody else against you. We already know if we start saying too much, even on our phones, if we see it, them flag us for saying other stuff. But we can say the N-word, you black this, you black men this, all type of stuff. But as soon as you say even certain sexualities of people, just saying what it is can get you flagged. When it comes to us, it's the same thing with the Asian hate bill. A few Asians get attacked, they do something about it. It's us, it's just our culture. We're too accepting of stuff. So anytime an influencer is trying to tell us and wake us up to something, and then most people do not read, our culture does not read past a meme, a post, anything like that. So them saying, hey, look at here, and you have that type of influence. Yes, it's just like Colin Kaepernick. You're going to get more of the things that they don't want to happen because you are our puppet. You make us money for these reasons. We're not paying you to think for yourself. And I think that's the thing.
Hold on, wait a minute. Back the train up. You said the Asians, a few things happened, and then you said they did something about it. Who was they? Just really quick.
I'm saying the Asian group, they have a culture of people where they actually can come together. They actually can speak up and get things in place. And sit at and actually say, hey, these are happening to us. You need to do something. They have a backing.
Really quickly, what did they do?
Would you want to go into the Asian? Why is that relevant to the conversation?
Because you were trying to suggest that we don't, and that's why I'm asking you what did they do?
Well, okay, let me just speak on how it's advertised, just so we don't. When in the commercials out here around elections, they'll say 2 Asian ladies last week were attacked. Is this a hate crime against Asians? But we see 5 black people got killed this week. This is not a hate crime against blacks. You know what I'm saying? So if it's average, they have people that saying, you know what, this is unacceptable. Our people don't say, you know what, let's stand up against this. Yeah, they say protect gun violence, but we know that's not the case. It's the hate we have for each other. So that's the difference. We don't, when we see things happening, I can go into the nail shop. Their culture, if I give this lady a tip, she's going to split it with the other lady, whether or not she helped me or not. Our culture, we still in the tip. We still in from the strippers. We just tip to. We don't have that type of sense of anything. So that's my whole point as far as their culture actually speaks up and say, whether it's 2 people, 15 people, that's too many people just getting attacked for no reason of our people. When it's us, it's just something that happens. It's something we can record. It's our own people actually bringing each other down. I don't never really see.
Yeah, I'm not trying to argue.
Hold on, before you go, let me just say this real quick. I think we say that a lot. Like, it's just our people that do certain things. The truth is, The same stuff that happens in our community happens in almost every community. The difference is our stuff is broadcasted. So I think it's important for us to know
I
that.
just disagree.
I
Because
think
any type
I'm
of big
telling-
influencer, you don't hear about any time where it's anybody we look up to. It's our own people turning our own people that we call our saviors. It's never another culture trying to take them out. Now we can give the theory like, hey, we think it was set up by the government and then woo 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 they took the, but if we looking at it, that it's always a person a black person that is the Judas of our own people is what I'm saying.
So I'm not disagreeing with you. I want you to understand this before I say what I'm about to say. And I know people don't like dealing with the past, but when you say like we didn't do anything about it, like we literally did. Like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of black men have given their lives, right, to speak out and to stand up against what the dominant society has done to black people over hundreds of years. And it didn't change. It stayed the same. And at some point, you get tired of martyring yourself. Like right now, I don't care how much blackety black I talk on this YouTube. I'm straight on any type of race war y'all got going on. I'm in the crib.
But this is what I'm saying. I don't disagree with that. This is what I'm saying. We can let and I'll shift it. I'm sorry. When we're talking about, let's say people talk about Dr. Umar, I hear more black people talking about the message and why he don't have a school than I have more black people with money saying, how can we get with him to build this school? I may not agree with everything. You hear more people talking about it. Ice Cube created something. Black people, I have a problem with this, and that, and the other. Not how can we get on board to make this something that is happening. I'm saying today, I'm not talking about the Martin Luther Kings. That era is gone. It will never be us boycotting a big business for a purpose. We're not ever doing that.
But that's
I'm
that's
saying
my point
today,
though, Lucky.
I don't see a Dr. Umar saying, hey, this is the petition that I'm trying to get a law passed. And maybe educate me. What great influencer is trying to get us to sign something to bring to Congress to get a law passed that we're actually supporting? Or are they just sharing trauma with us that we already know?
So I thought I just explained that, but so maybe you didn't hear what I was saying. After years and years and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of martyring ourselves for the people, we've decided against that. Now everybody's just chasing the bag. Everybody's just trying to chase their own dreams. Everybody trying to live their own lives. Ain't nobody trying to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of black people. Because at the end of the day, when you see situations like what we saw in Chicago, these Asian people had several incidents where they had beat up on black women after having altercations with them about, paying for their nails, and the women weren't happy with the services that they got. And the Asian people, whatever they are, I don't know who they are, the ones that do the nails, they was locking the doors, locking them in there, beating them with brooms and all of that. The brother went over there, threw bricks through the window, bust all the windows out, and told them, y'all ain't gonna keep treating our sisters like this. Told the sisters to stay from over there. The next day, it wasn't even glass, it was wood, boarded up. The sisters was lined up to get their nails done. What I'm trying to tell you
is, my point. That's my exact point. We're not gonna be boycott the bus. We all walking. That's gone. So we've never I'm not gonna give credit to us. Like, it's been years of us doing this. We're literally stupid. We're literally. We gotta call like so.
Look. You remember when I first started talking? I said, "Look,
hold on, podcast. I want to finish. I want to hear Lucky finish her point.
No, I was saying that was my point. We're literally stupid, even on these things. We see people talking about the issues in the black community. I have yet to see a moderator say, hit this link. We're trying to start this. We're trying to do this. We just good at talking about and complaining about the issues. We're not good at actually doing something about them. And that translates into our economy. That translates into what Anton calls the victim Olympics. That translate into a lot of things. When you look at us, we're good at complaining. We're not good at executing. We're not good at supporting. Why are we not at having black women start nail shops? You want to know why?
Lucky.
A lot of time, a black woman not about to do no
guys,
speech.
I don't want anybody to cut Lucky up. Lucky's making some really good points.
So I didn't want to go there. I'm just saying, like, we can't keep making it seem like we don't see what we're doing. F everybody else. They're gonna conquer because that's what it's. When are we gonna? We can sit up here and say we were gods. don't even claim that. Don't claim none of that, because how are you moving today? Am I going to support this person? No, because like you said earlier, we trying to flex on each other. We trying to look better than you. I did that. We can't. That's our culture, and it won't change. We have to be individuals at this point, because if one person like Kyrie or Kanye West stand up and they say that nigga's crazy, we're gonna say he's crazy. Because we don't read. We're not looking at anything he's saying. We're not looking at nothing further past what they tell us. And they've done a good job. It's just like the Bible. The Bible could say what color Jesus is. They said he white. We saying we don't like Christianity because they said he white. We do not read. That's just my point. We're stupid.
I'm
Who
with
said
you.
Jesus is white?
I'm
Because
with
I
you.
never
I'm
heard
with you
that
up
before.
until we say we're stupid. I don't think we're stupid. I think that maybe we are not. We don't take action like we should, but I think that in the age we have the power with our dollars and with our attention, and if we
Ain't got no dollars in our community. That's why nobody want to talk
no,
to us.
no,
They're
no,
not
no,
sitting at the table with
no,
broke people.
take a listen. No, listen. We do have you. This is how you know you have dollars. Anytime you have marketing campaigns directed at you, that's because you got some money. What we don't do is keep the just listen. What we don't do is keep money in our communities for long enough for it to mean anything. So we do get the money, but then as soon as we get it, it goes out, and that's where the issue
It's
is.
their money. They give it to us, and we give it back.
No,
We don't
we play
keep
hot
nothing in
potato with it.
No. It's a
No,
lot of started stuff.
we bought into consumer culture and comparison culture, and we play hot potato with the bread. And we don't recycle the dollar amongst each other. This speaks to my point that I made earlier. We look at every other race and what they're doing, and we got so much cleaning up to do within our own household. We can't even address the people outside the house because we ain't even talking inside the house. And at the end of the day, listen, I would be reluctant to speak out on certain things, because if I get canceled and my bag is canceled, then my people don't have a net for me to fall back on. Whereas in other races, I mean, go ahead and cancel them. They people got their back, and so it all starts with unity. And until we have that, at the end of the day, what it all comes down to, a house divided cannot stand. But according to Dust, though, we ain't got no goddamn community anyway. So,
Pretty much. That is true.
Yeah. And so why even have these discussions? Because we don't even identify with each other. According to Dust, though, we don't.
So Charles, the people said, here's the deal. There's solutions. As self and as people, as community, as family, and all this stuff. The people said no. How many times do they have to keep telling you no? Hey, y'all need to get in shape and eat better food. No. You need to cooperate with your men. No. You need to work together. No. You need to start businesses. No. You need to stop hating and all the bigotry, beating each other up. They said no. How many times do they have to keep telling you no? Or if you take your money and pump it into it, if you take your money and pump it into this, you're doing nothing but enabling the bad behavior that's going to keep repeating. Now, I do believe in each one, teach one. But overall, this whole rescue mission, they said no.
So, DL, remember.
And then we got to get Harris Tribe in here. And salute to Black Men Unfiltered. What's up, my brother? Go ahead, podcast.
Remember when you were talking about critical thinking, right? So the point that I was trying to make by bringing up what happened in the past is to show you why we where we at now. That's why we there, right? Anytime we try to do something as a group, they put a halt to it. You name the time, and you can see it was literally stopped. I don't care if they was dropping bombs out of airplanes. In the 80s, it was a group in, I think, Philadelphia. Some black people had something going on. They burnt their house down with people in it. Like, you can't do nothing as a group. We'll let you practice this individualism because that supports our consumerism. Not to mention the fact that we have to keep our foot on the neck of the lion. Because if the difference between this is my opinion. The difference between us and Mexicans, right? If they let us play the game as a group, we're going to dominate and take it over. Everybody else just want to fit in. Everybody else is trying to get their piece of the pie. Everybody else just want their truck and their house and they picket fence and they cool. But we going to try to take it over because that's what we do. We took over music. We took over sports. That's just what we do. We dominate like that. So they not going to let us practice group economics to the point where we end up taking over. It's not going to happen.
Like, here's the problem I have with this though. What does that mean? They ain't gonna let us. Like, what does that?
The evidence is there, Sir Hale.
But I mean, tell me how would that be stopped? Like, if
what
we
happened
said,
when we had Wall Street?
let me give an example. Let's say all 10 of us say we gonna, you know, we gonna do something. How is that? How does that get stopped?
It's a lot of ways for it to get stopped. I told you, I have a cousin that owns a construction business. He can't even get jobs in his own union. He has to go outside of his union because they won't let him play in his own yard. Now, it's worked to his benefit because he had to go into the city. And so now he's been able to network with people in the city. So he's doing something bigger. But just the fact that they wouldn't even allow him to use people from his own union or get any of those jobs on his own union, and he's a minority company, just shows you how easy it is. Business loans, all type of stuff. Look, don't get me started. I ain't the smartest man in the world. All I can tell you is if you show me a time, right, since the end of slavery until now, where black people were practicing group economics and it was working, it was stopped. Why do we have to give you any more information than that? You know it to be true. Every time it happened, it was stopped. Period.
You use the Black Panther podcast.
Every time it happened, it was stopped. We're not gonna let you Negroes practice group stuff. The man, J. Edgar Hoover, literally said this. This is the biggest threat to America as we know it. Is these black people having a messiah and all this other stuff. Like Lucky saying that she ain't heard nobody say, click the link on this. Well, that's the problem. The reason why everybody else is winning because everybody else get to practice group. When I was young, growing up in Chicago, and we used to go out to the suburbs in Aurora, it's a western suburb called Aurora, and you see all the Mexican families, and it would be 6, 7, 8 families in one building. It's 2 apartments in the building, and they got 6 families in each apartment, and they got 2 cars. Everybody, riding in the car together. It looked like a circus. Well, today, every last one of them got their own business, got jobs. They all got trucks. They all own houses. Why? Because they practice group economics. They did it together. So you can get some people who will do that, 4 or 5 people together. LeBron did it. He got 4 of his friends. Guess what? And they practicing group economics. But at the same time, what I'm saying is that's 4 people.
But here's my thing. Here's my pushback on what you're saying. So what you're saying is not wrong. I think that as it relates to today, we have to start making those changes. Like if we were talking about 20, 30 years ago, I would absolutely say you're absolutely right. But we have the knowledge of what things was. Now we have to exercise our right to vote. We have to make sure if we're concerned about laws, then we got to buckle down. Some of us gonna have to get those degrees, get into politics. Do we have to do to help be an influence on those laws? That's what I'm saying. We have the knowledge and the information today to make that change. And so I don't want us to continuously pull on anybody stopping us if we're not actively becoming the lawyers, becoming the mayors, becoming the councilmen, so on and so forth. We have the power to change this now.
But Sir Hale, they stopped murdering the other people though. Like whatever they was doing to the Chinese people, they stopped doing that. And they gave them reparations. Whatever they was doing to all these other demographic people, they stopped doing it and they gave them reparations. They still doing it to us. You can't expect for people to come together and focus and practice group economics when they can when they can literally wake up in the morning and open their phone up and the first thing they see is a man was driving in a car with his daughter, pulled over by the police, told the police he had a gun, they shot him 9 times. Why his daughter was in the car.
But see,
I'm
not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying right now we have the power to change that. I need us to remind each other of that and remind our kids of that because we know what the problems are. Like we see them, we're living in them. But now we have to be the ones to make that change so that our kids are not saying the same things that we're saying. Like one thing you said about the Hispanic family and just any family of a different ethnicity is right. We saw that and we saw that that's a true thing. Now we have the power to do that as well. And I'll tell you what I've done. I done bought this big old place so in case any of my family needs to do that. because I was the one who benefited off of somebody letting me stay in their house. Now I got my own. And then what we do is we return that favor. So that's what I'm saying. Once you put yourself in position, now you can start making that change. And I would say all of us have the capability of doing that. Maybe instead of us buying the $300,000 house, sacrifice for a few years, get the $175,000, stash the other one away, and be able to do things to help and build that up to elevate other people. If you get a good job, don't let somebody else do the hard stuff. Go educate them and teach them how to do it as well. You see what I'm saying? If we don't like the laws, let's not talk about how poor this person is and why we're not voting for this person. Let's show our effort by the power of our vote. Here's another thing. If we don't like what somebody is doing, there's a big thing that we miss. You can show your power by refraining from spending your dollars, right? You don't have to keep on spending. You have to make a little sacrifice, drive a few more miles away, but we have the power. We just get comfortable with talking about the problem because it's inconvenient to do something about it sometimes. And sometimes we got to be okay with inconveniencing ourselves for the greater good.
Now, and that's another thing too. We talk about what can we do as individuals, right? On this YouTube platform, whenever I do anything YouTube related, every dollar I spend with my team, right? Brothers in Miami, brothers in Detroit. Brothers in Dallas, brothers in LA. Like if I need an editor, I spend the money with my people. Everybody gonna touch that dollar 3-4 times before it goes outside the circle. That's something personal. It's just something I do. Like, you know what? I ain't never did this before. Why can't I go get someone in my community to spend this dollar with, and then they get somebody in our community and spend that dollar with, because that's what everybody else does. You feel me? And it starts as an individual. Am I starting a movement? I hope so. You know what I mean? Because that is utilizing the power of the most sought after group, the most sought after cohort financially in America. Nobody buy more shit than black folks. Nobody. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be this grand movement. It could be something small on a small scale. You know what I mean? What did I do with Black Man and Sir Hale? I got some people in Dallas doing something. Oh, these my dudes, man. Hey, here's the info. Bam. The next thing you know, I see them on. They went there. You know what I mean? And got on the pocket. This is getting your network and getting your net worth up. Being with like-minded folks. You know what I mean? Now, you can sit around with those folks in the barbershop and be on that woe is me bullshit. I could have. You know what I mean? I could have stayed in the hood and just kept cranking in that first bubble I was in. I could have kept doing that, getting them things out and handling business in the street. I could have done that. You know what I mean? But I didn't. I pushed through it. Now here I am. I'm sitting around with all the other white folks, feet up. I'm retired. I'm not saying that to say I'm bragging, but I show that to people out there like, man, if I can do it, this dude from Avondale, if I can do it, you can do it. And the ones who didn't move on it, they was like, man, I should have, instead of making fun of you, I should have been with you. And it still ain't too late. Building up a platform right here. These are things we could do as individuals. If you want to really be about it, get out there and do something about it. That I learned out in the fucking army with white boys. We're airborne. We'll get the job done. Just send us. Because them other dudes over there crying about it. Man, whatever. You don't want to go in there, you're going to be surrounded. Man, we're supposed to be surrounded. We are going to handle business. And that's the mindset we need. We don't have that mindset as a community. I disagree with my brother Dusto. I do believe we have a community, but it's been decimated. You're talking about the Mexicans. You're talking about the Indians, the Africans, and whoever else. You know what they have that we don't have? They have the nuclear family. Yes, we got devastated. Yes, it was a plan. Yes, it started with the Johnson administration. Yes, you're right. You're right about the FBI and everything else. So what? It's time to regroup. Jesus, you said it yourself. It's been centuries. We gonna stay down? I'm not. You know what I mean? Are you gonna stay down, brother podcast? If you're going to, that's fine. Go ahead. You're an American. You have a right to do what you want to do. Sit around here and cry all you want. I went and fought for this country, so you can do that. You know what I mean? As a black man who is underfoot, I still went and did that. But yo, bro, that's how I look at it, man. Shit, all I'm hearing from you is a whole lot of fucking crying. You know what I mean? Get off your fucking ass if you really want to do some shit, bro. I'm just saying, if you want to do some shit, get off your ass and do it. That's all I'm hearing.
You don't know what I got going on.
Hold on, guys. Don't demonetize the stream now.
Why you ain't stop him when he was saying the shit he was saying about me?
So podcast, I'm not stopping you from talking. I'm saying I don't want this stream to get demonetized. So let's keep it respectful. But you go ahead and you can respond.
Yeah, listen, bro. You don't know me or what I got going on in my life. I can tell you about what happened in America. That does not make me a victim. You have to stop me when I'm lying. Until then, KMA. Because I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
No,
All you gotta do is tell me when I'm lying, bro. Show me where there has been another. Now I know what black man's gonna say, right? My question to them is gonna be, well, you gotta tell the world. Why the world don't know, right? Where's all of the Black Wall Streets at? We got all of these black millionaires. We got all of these black men that's making 6 figures. According to black women, I seen a girl on the podcast the other day said black women make more money than everybody. So where's it at? Where's the group economics? Where's the new Black Wall Streets? Because we have multiples. So I want to just hear about one that happened last year. Where's the group? Where's the Black Wall Streets? What I'm saying is, yes, on the individual level, people have been able to reach a certain level of success. There's a reason why we don't practice group economics. And that reason is available for anybody who wants to do the research and Google and YouTube. You can find it. There's a bunch of documentaries out there. If you're not aware of what went on in this country that happened to black people, what I'm saying is what you see from us today, we're not born that way. We didn't wake up and just become that. That was something that happened that led us to the way that we are now. There's a certain level of fear and anxiety that comes along with doing group economics and trusting black people, right? A lot of people will say you can have a McDonald's restaurant over here and a McDonald's restaurant over there. This one is black owned, that one is white owned. We going to the white owned because we just assume the service even going to be better. That it's a lot of different reasons, but I'm just saying we didn't just wake up like that. I don't like it when people try to paint the narrative like this is just who we are.
No. So I think
who we are, then say how we got there as well.
No. So I don't think anybody's saying that though. Like
I didn't say nobody did. I just said listen to the words I literally just said is I don't like it when people just say that this is how we are. Okay, if you're gonna say that this is how we are, then also say how we got there.
I'm saying, are you saying in reference to what somebody said on this particular stream?
Yes, I'm not saying that nobody said those things didn't happen. It's the same as the sister said when she was trying to clarify where her statements were coming from. They're not coming from a place of racism or whatever. I'm saying, okay, do that same thing when we're talking about black people. We want to sit up here and say, I'm not saying all white people are racist, and I'm not saying all Mexicans are this. I'm not saying all Asians are that. But then when we're talking about us, it's just, well, niggas ain't shit. The niggas don't want to do nothing.
No. So I think
he literally just sat there and said to me that it sounds like all I'm doing is whining and complaining. He don't know a fucking thing about my life, and I haven't spoken on myself personally at all. So you can't say that it hasn't been said, Sir Hale, when he just said it to me. He said it like, oh, all you doing is sitting there and whining. Yes, he literally just said that to me. So that's my point. All I was doing was explaining how we got here. That's it. I told Lucky when she first started talking, I said, I'm not denying what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. Where you're saying we're at, that's exactly where we're at. But let's just say how we got there too, though, so it don't make it seem like we just born that way.
The problem is when you focus on the problem, that becomes your reality, as opposed to focusing. It's kind of like when you task somebody with doing something, and they could think of a million reasons why they can't, and not really focusing on how we can get it done. That's a different type of energy, right? And so the thing about it is these two phrases come to mind. What you focus on expands, and you are what you think about the most. And I think what DL was talking about was podcast is that this evening you've expressed a lot of why we can't. Why we can't.
I didn't say why we can't.
No. You expressed why we
haven't.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Now,
no, because I don't like being mischaracterized.
Yeah, you can main one don't like getting cut off.
And I don't like being mischaracterized. I didn't say we can't.
Okay, hold on. Let me express my thought. So you are what you think about the most. It is okay to discuss how we got to a certain place. That's fine. But that should not be our focus. Our focus should be how can we get it done? And right? Would you agree? And group economics is real. We're actually doing it, but we're doing it in smaller groups. Yeah, because I don't want to work with a large number of people who may not share the same ideals as I do, but I could probably focus. Hey, get me in my group of people who I know we gonna run the play and we're gonna run it multiple times. Oh yeah, so group economics is happening. It's just not where we want it to be. And so my hope is that as we participate in these group economics, it can spread over time and weed out the people who just make excuses and let that be their focus. So that's the thing, though. Even every era of American history, you've had black folks somehow become successful. You had millionaires popping up, black millionaires popping up during the civil rights era, where America was probably most segregated, right? And going back beyond that in the past, you had people who could find a way to become successful. So, but I think first and foremost, it starts out with what is your focus? What are you focusing on? And I think largely, I'll close with this. I think largely what I find is that a lot of us, we focus on the problem. We focus on the problem. And that's what's holding us back.
Really quick, Sir Charles, let me ask you a question. Do you agree that there's a difference between can't and haven't?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure that the people who watch and understand this. What he said that I would say it's not true. I didn't say can't. I said haven't. And I explained why we haven't. Because my whole point was I agree with what Lucky was saying about where we are. I just wanted to put some context on why we're there so that it doesn't sound like we're just born this way or we just wake up every day and this is just who we are. No, there are reasons and things that have been in place to get us to where we have to where we find ourselves at right now.
And I agree with that. And to those who are in the chat, listen, guys. So moderators, like I love people viewing, but if anybody is disrespectful to our guests, just time them out. This is just one shot. It's a way if we attack the argument, we don't attack people, right? So saying somebody was raised, on a farm, we ain't doing all of that. If you got an issue with the actual point, have an issue with the point, not the person.
Wait, one other thing, Sir Charles, are you a proponent of therapy?
Absolutely. I'm a proponent of help in whatever capacity you might be able to get it.
So what is one of the major things they do in therapy to help you fix your problems?
I think first and foremost, having you identify that there is a problem.
And how do they do that? And how do they do that? Well, what do they do after that?
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
I think the point is going back to the history, going to the origin.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we got that.
Don't skip over that, sir. Hale.
No.
Skip over that. Let that resonate, like you said. Let it take a breath.
Guys, listen. So what we do, we know how we do it over. You know how we talk. I just want the audience to understand that when we have these conversations, we like coming from all different angles. So I just want people to be able to appreciate all of the stuff that you guys are hearing. Podcast made some really good points because a lot of people who are unsure or unaware of what happened, they don't know that there are systemic things that do exist. But to that point, we can't let that stop us. We still we have to put work in and to do what it takes to make the changes that we need. Even with myself, I told Podcast and Sir Charles some things that I'm planning on doing, right? Because I want to be part of that change. And Dio said something that I want to get to as well, that we're going to have to start focusing on our families. Because one thing that I do see once we get successful is everybody for themselves. I got mine, and you should get yours too. We got to focus on family, right? So I think it's good. So with this being said, guys, let's pivot to the next deal, and I'm going to get Black Man Unfiltered on this first because I know he's ready to cook, but it's probably going to tie in. We say that we're not together. Look at something that Takeoff said in his interview. I thought I had it up on the screen. But he had a quote. Essentially, what he was saying, he was saying something to the extent that you got to be careful who you're around because once you're successful, the people who are watching you ain't really watching you because they're happy for you. They're just kind of looking at your moves to see what they can do. So my question to all of you guys is, how you guys ever hear the saying, don't forget where you come from, give back, go give back. Doesn't it seem like if you make it, quote unquote, whatever making it is, and you go back to help, you're putting yourself in danger? Doesn't it seem that way? What do you guys think about that?
Black man.
Good evening, everyone.
What's good, bro?
What's good? Before I begin, before I get into, I just want to do this real quick. Oscarville, Georgia. Benton, Alabama, Susanna, Alabama, Vanport, Oregon, Central Park, which was Seneca Village, all places who were thriving African-American towns and cities. I'll start with the one first. Seneca Village was a thriving community of Black people. They went in, dragged them all out by their hair. And now when you go visit New York, you're walking through Central Park. They made it a park. They took a city from thriving Black people and made a park out of it. That's Central Park. Oscarville, Georgia, and other ones I named, all of them are underwater. What they did was they went in, they took large amounts of water, up to 70 feet or 100 feet deep, and they backed the water up, and they allowed the water to go into these villages and cover the towns completely. Towns that were thriving, with history, with jobs, with shoe repair, with movie theaters. We can't forget about the most famous one in Tulsa, where they're doing too much out there. They're too successful. They had multiple churches and multiple. They had bowling. They had movie theaters. They destroyed it. But I do want to say this. A lot of people say we gotta let the past go because we're not those people. We gotta let it go. But anything that we do today that we need, we'd have to go into our past. So let me walk through that village real quick. If I go to a car, if I go buy a used car and I ask for a Carfax, the Carfax is going to give me the past of the car, where it's been, where it's going through, right? How it got there. If I go to buy a house, they're going to pull my credit report. They got to know my history to know where I'm going. They got to know I have to have a healthy history to get where I'm going to be successful to buy the house. If I go to the doctor and they say, hey, listen, we found a little murmur in your heart. What's your family history? They got to know what happened with mom and daddy in order to help me moving forward. If I go to therapy, they're going to try to find the problem. And the way to find the problem is it may have happened when I was 5 and the trauma from my mama taught me. They want to go back into my mama's life to fix my life because that's the past.
There you go.
We talk about we get people that became millionaires. My brother Sir Charles said that people became millionaires. Let's talk about Madam C.J. Walker. This ain't going to be sexy. But let's talk about Madam C.J. Walker. She invented the straightening comb. The reason she invented the straightening comb because she wanted Black women to look more European. And so she invented a device for Black women to use a straightening comb to look more European like the white women because she felt that would make Black women more successful. So we talk about how we get the money, but who did she use to get that money? What did she do to get that money? But I'm gonna leave that alone as well. I do have something else here. When we talk about the nuclear family and we talk about how we are against each other, yes, Martin Luther King was stabbed by a Black woman at one of his speeches. Absolutely. She was sent to do that, right? Out of fear, probably, right? Martin Luther King's mother was assassinated sitting at the organ playing the piano years after he was assassinated. But the thing that gets me the most is they use Black America. They use Black African-American men and women to accomplish a goal to make us look bad. And they use fear. If I go to Lil Podcast and I say, Lil Podcast, hey, listen, I need you to go over to Sir Hale's house tonight. And I need you to convince him to do this. If you don't, I got something for your little girl in there. And I got something for your wife. So you need to go and take care of this, or I'm going to burn you and your children up in this house with your wife. And so what Lil Podcast is going to do, he's going to go over and turn on his brother to save his family. They use fear tactics to do that. If we go all the way back to Willie Lynch clearly stated that all I want to do is take the yellow skin, the brighter skin Black people, and I want to put them in the house. And then I want to give them positions. Then I want to give them titles. And then when I give them titles, I want the other Black people to see them smell good, look good, be in their tuxes. I'm going to make them the house Negroes. And so now this is the crab in the bucket mentality that we see today. Sir Hale may have a suit on, Lil Podcast got a hoodie on. They may be the same intellectual brothers and smart and intelligent, but they're going to go for Sir Hale's going to be that guy that they go to Ain't nobody finna talk to Lil Podcast because we've been given the image. The suit makes you smart. The hoodie makes you a thug. We've been fed this already, but I'm gonna leave that alone too. The last thing, and I'm gonna do it, I'm done. When I say we being used as a people to carry out things for other people that don't mean any good for us, we go to Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger said, you know what? I'm going to come up with these clinics. I'm going to build them. The first one I'm going to build is going to be in Harlem, New York. I'm going to put it in Harlem, and I'm going to have women and convince women to delete their children. But I, as a white woman, know I don't have no business in the hood. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send those preachers and those deacons and those mothers down there, and I want them to convince them. But I need to have a bigger name. So I'm going to take W.E.B. Du Bois, and I'm going to use him. Come here, W.E.B. And he said, okay. And they partnered together to get women to get rid of their children. But these are the things that we don't talk about. So in my closing, I'll say that most people that were used in the civil rights or used now, like even now, LeBron James has worn shirts standing up for black men, standing up for men that have been deleted by police, standing up for everybody. And all of a sudden, Kyrie shares a link, and now you do a soliloquy on Kyrie saying that he's this horrible person. Right? Shannon Sharp, so disappointed in him, said the same thing. Stephen A., we already know what he is. Right? All these people didn't turn on Kyrie, but I did see Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, say, "I got your back, Kyrie. I got your back." Kanye, I got your back, Kanye. I got your back, Kyrie, and we're here for you. Whenever you need from us, we're here. Come sit with me and sit around us, and we'll protect you. Right? So he's standing up for them because he's in the same boat they're in. He got taken off every platform because they say he was the same thing that Kyrie and Kanye is. Right? So I'll close with that. We have to be mindful of black people have tried. Now, like Sir Hale said, yes, we could change things with voting. Yes, we can do this. We can go do this. But how many times have a black people? Well, I'm not going to say that. We can change things by voting, but we got to put the right people in office. But what happens is, in certain cases, a lot of times, is when we put that very person in office, they get complacent in office, and then they start working against you because they're working for someone else that got a bigger pocket, that has deeper pockets. So we have to be mindful of that as well. There's always good, there's always evil, and it's been that way since the beginning of time. But that's all I have. I digress.
So I'll respond to that. So all of what you're saying is, there's some truth to a lot of that. I don't disagree, but I think we've gotten comfortable with articulating the issue. And the only way things change is if probably Sheila says something that I love. She said, nothing changes if nothing changes. I think that if we want to see that change, we simply have to do that work. So think about this. So we love talking about what, and we need to talk about what we've gone through as a people. But one of the things that set the bar for what we should aspire to be is, in spite of all of that stuff, they still put forth effort. And I would dare say that their consequences was a lot deeper and severe than we have to deal with today. Like, if we get canceled by social media, we still have some millions. They get canceled back then, they lose everything, right? So I think that if we see a problem, then we have an obligation to take all the facts of that issue and then do something about it, right? And in spite of the barriers that are set, we have a responsibility to remove those, even if it's not for ourselves, to remove those for those behind us. So I want to put that out there as well. Yes, we have to talk about our history, but you know what I think would help us if we start talking about our future as well and start taking steps to get there as well. Anybody want to respond to this?
Yes, because that's the same argument that I was making, is that, yeah, we can talk about where black people are, but let's at least put some context to why they got to that place. Let's not just make it seem like that's just who we are. Let's just say, hey, these are the things that happen, and this is why we are the way that we are. Once upon a time on the show, some time back, I said to you that I believe the solutions are in the complaints. And you told me it's like podcast. I ain't gonna lie, that sounds like whatever words you use. I think it was something like genius or profile or like the realest thing you ever heard in your life. It was something to that effect. But but the point is that if my mama said boy, stop leaving that kitchen light on. But she didn't have to tell me not to leave the kitchen light on. I knew exactly what the solution was to her telling me to stop leaving that kitchen light on. Stop leaving the kitchen light on. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, baby, stop using the toilet seat up. Stop cheating on me. Stop beating on me. Stop shooting me, police officers. Stop burning down our communities anytime we put them together. Like, whatever that is. But what we're talking about, specifically Black Man and I right now, is saying this is how we got here. This is the mindset, right? I don't care what politician you put in office. That's not going to change nothing. You know how I can say that? Because they haven't. And we've been voting for over 100 years. So how many years of voting? Quantify it right now. And if you can't, just be like, okay, podcast, I get your point. Quantify it right now. Tell me how many years of voting does it actually take for a change to occur? Because after 100 some years of voting, probably should have changed by now, right? Does not work. Politics is made to operate. Politics over 100 years. Let's bet money right now. You know I love money. You know I love money. Let's bet it right now. $100 right now. We've been voting for over 100 years. Anybody? Any takers? No, I didn't think so. Because y'all know podcasts don't talk unless you know what they're talking about.
But you mean collectively, right?
What I'm saying is we've been voting. Whether it was Republican, whether it was Democratic, whether it was locally, whether it was for the president. We've been doing that as a group. We've been doing that.
Let me make this point
for
though.
Years.
So, here's what I need everybody to do though. When we make an argument, don't isolate one point. We're not saying that voting in and of itself is a solution. That's part of a solution, right? It's multifaceted.
Right. So what I'm saying right now is that if you do this right now, we take somebody, Black Man, I'm not going to do that because I know you was quiet about it. We take Sir Charles. He got all the solutions, all the plans, and we put him in office. When he gets into office, guess what he's going to find out? Politics works a certain way, and you don't get to come in here and just do whatever you want to. So there are some things that we need to be focused on internally within ourselves. I think that was Lucky Marie that said earlier that we spend so much time handing down trauma. We ain't fixed that, but we weren't about politics. We weren't about group economics. We weren't about all this other stuff, and we ain't got the people together yet. We ain't, because we can't talk about that. We're not gonna never fix the people because don't nobody want to talk about how the people got to the point they at. That's too much like the crime.
Sir Hale, I'd like to respond. Well, go ahead, Black Man. Then I'd like to respond.
Let me insert something on what Lip Podcast said.
We're gonna get Mr. and Mrs. She said because they've been quiet tonight. I want to hear them as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to add something on to what Lip Podcast said, and I think I've said this to you before, Lip Podcast, but if not, here we go. I recall my grandmother being in the elevator. I took her to the doctor, and we were in the elevator together. And when we were in the elevator, the door opened for more people to get on. 2 white men and a white lady came onto the elevator. My grandmother, I'm over there laughing and talking to my grandmother. My grandmother hits me on the arm. And I looked at my grandma like, whoa, something wrong? She said, She said, be quiet, then white people on the elevator. She said, don't say nothing. She said, keep your head down, don't you say nothing. This is what my grandmother told me. This was 2007, 2009 maybe. I don't know what year. It was in the 2000s, right? Put your head down, don't you say nothing. That trauma that my grandmother experienced at 13, watching her aunt get beat, or my grandmother's 89 now, or watching her sister get beat, or anything happen, anybody getting raped, or anything in front of her, right? She did not heal from that trauma. So what she did was try to pass it down to me. And if I would have embraced it, and if I would have consumed that, today I would be telling my son the same thing. Hey, put your head down. Don't you look at the white people. But I was the one that did not believe that. But I do have sisters right now that are younger than me that believe that. When white people come, they shut up. They get closed in. They don't have their personality changes all of a sudden, almost immediate. And so that trauma been passed down. And my grandmother didn't get the help she needed to have a healthy pass along instead of a very traumatic pass along. My grandfather. Go buy it. I've seen it so much, it just make you get emotional. My grandfather was getting a tire changed. The man said, what can I do for you today? My granddad just dropped his head. I need a tire. Okay, you know how much that tire gonna cost? You don't? Yes, sir. And when I hear my grandfather say "sir" like that, bro, it did something to me.
Right.
It made me it just made me furious. And I'm like, why are they still? And I asked my God, why are you still like that? Hey, grandson, you can't say nothing to me because you don't know what we've been through. They didn't get the help for what they went through. So now they're passing along. And that's what Live Podcast is saying right now. All these people out here right now that are acting a certain way, it's been passed down to them. And instead of us getting the help, we're going to have a lot of traumatic people at the voting polls, a lot of traumatic people marching down the street, a lot of people in trauma voting for a mayor, but they don't know who the leader of the house is. They don't know how to be a man. They don't know how to be a woman. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. So what we do is we take that trauma and everybody else, we just pull ourselves into the voting poll, pull ourselves into this, and we don't know how to be husbands. We don't know how to be wives. The kids are all over the damn place. It's supposed to be God over man, man over wife, wife over children. Now it's man over nothing, wife over everything, and kids everywhere. That's what we do.
Well, I do want to say, black man, that's a political tactic to provoke emotion. I'll let Harris try go, but just what you said. That's why every 4 years you see something's going to come out that impacts voting, and then we're supposed to vote emotionally. That's a whole strategy. That's why
that's what I was talking about earlier. Emotional scam
only come out around certain times.
Are you saying that there are people who do things on purpose and put out either propaganda or real footage of things happening to people in order to trigger people to vote a certain way? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. And a lot of them are black.
What?
And a lot of them are black too. So what's the
That
point?
can't be true. Y'all just in the victim Olympics. Y'all stop that. Ain't nobody going through all that to get nobody to vote.
Podcast. Signing up for that system is optional.
Get out of here. Ain't nobody.
Because we talked about this very thing at the beginning of the show. Like we talked about this very thing. My thing is, guys, and here's my hope. All I don't hear us talk enough about what we want, what we're going after, and the people who are making it happen. Like we rally up. Now, listen, this is not me dismissing anything, because if anybody has a story about it being rough, I guarantee my story will rival anybody up here. But we spend a lot of time talking about the trauma of what was, and those people who went through that trauma still believed in something and fought through it. You see what I'm saying? I think that if we're going to talk about our history, then we owe it to ourselves to talk about our future as well. Like, what do we want? What can we become? What can we accomplish? And then we put the steps to do that as well. We don't listen. Our grandmothers had a legitimate reason for not going to therapy because they didn't have it. We don't have a therapy. If you can spend 2 hours on Facebook, you can spend 30 minutes talking to somebody, right? If you can spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes on IG posting reels, you can spend 30 minutes reading something. We are without excuse. So we got to stop borrowing from the real pain that our ancestors went through, because they will be rolling over in their grave to know that they went through all that, and we're still living off their excuses when they literally lost their lives and what they had to put us in a better position.
You know what's scary, sir?
Hold on 1 second. So my thing is for everybody, let's keep talking about our Black history, but let's make it a bigger point to talk about our Black future. We got to have somewhere to go so that we can talk about solutions, and we have these conversations. We're going places instead of going around in circles. This is not dismissing anything we talked about, but we got to start talking forward now as well.
Yes, Sir Hale, I say those very words all the time. Talk about Black future, and they come with me with the dust. I say those very words, Black future. Here's the truth. I don't really know all the Black history about what happened over here, and I don't know. I wasn't taught this stuff. But I know I got a bright future. Not discrediting what people did, but I believe that these people died so the next generation could be free. So if they died for us to be free, why keep carrying the trauma? Now, if you have the option, now I get it, some people are going through some stuff right now. I'm not trying to discredit. But if you got the option to look forward or look backwards, why keep talking about what's going backwards? This is dragging you down. It's depressing versus going forward. That's all I got.
So ironic that the thing that you're saying is depressing is exactly what therapists do. That is so ironic.
And another.
I've never been in therapy.
Right. I wanted to say.
Hold on, guys. I'm
sorry.
I got to address this therapy thing, because I do believe that I'm going to end up going back to do this, because I think we need some more Black men in therapy. Therapists are paid to listen. That's what they're paid to do. If your therapist is always talking, it's a terrible therapist. They're paid to listen. But you have to go back to your past, not to live there, but you have to go back there to make peace with it so you can move forward, right? We pay them because they're unbiased to listen. So I want to make this clear that therapy ain't to fix your past. It's for you to be okay with seeing what your experience has been so you can start making progress in your life.
No, but you have to diagnose it. Hold on, this is important, Sir Hale. You have to diagnose it. That's what I'm saying.
We've been diagnosing this for how long?
So now if you want to talk about group, I won't argue with you. But individually, bro, do I have to pull the girl's picture up again from the Kevin Samuels show? Like, people don't really think that there's anything wrong with them.
I was just about to say
there are people who will tell you right now that they went and voted for Barack Obama because he was black, and they think that's smart. They think that makes sense. When they say it out of their mouth, they think that's a great thing. I did that. I voted for him because he was exactly. And that's what I'm saying. When people are doing things sometimes, Sir Hale, they don't even know it. We have created these defense mechanisms, these behaviors, these habits in our minds and in our lives. And sometimes we don't even realize that they are the things that are destructive. They are the things that are prohibiting us. So when I was in the 7th grade, my math teacher, 120-pound soaking wet white woman, she said, listen, I'm supposed to teach you all pre-algebra. You literally took this same class last year. You did well in it. So they just put you in my class so that we can redo it. I'm not going to do that. So what did she have us do the whole semester? We read the autobiography of Malcolm X. If you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, it sounds like Victim Olympics. Straight up. Guess what? I didn't view it as Victim Olympics. I view it as, I don't have to go through this. I don't have to be this way. I don't have to take these steps.
No
podcast. Don't be dismissive. What I'm saying is that.
So of course, I'm not being dismissive. But we're reading Malcolm X because he was in that time where what he's talking about makes sense. So it wouldn't be Victim Olympics if he's talking about his experience during that time. I'm talking about the 2022.
Right. And we literally just had a woman sit here and say, unless we want to call her a liar, I dare anybody to say that they cycle certain news events and propaganda to get people to vote. That is mind manipulation, Sir Hale.
But let me tell you something. We have the
voluntary.
Hold on. We have the power to do. Here we go. Watch this. It's powerful. Watch this podcast. Look at this.
Voluntary.
Podcast. I'm giving you a solution. You saw that?
Yeah.
We get to turn it off. No
one get the information on the people that you're supposed to be voting for.
So no one's forcing us to watch television. You know what we can do? Is we can talk. We can go to town meetings. We can go investigate what the policies are. We can ask questions. We can get involved. Come on, see, a lot of this stuff that we're saying is an issue. We have the power to change. No one's forcing us to watch certain television programs, right? No one's forcing us. We have an obligation to be a part of the society we live in. If that means asking questions because we don't know, ask the questions. If you're unfamiliar with what a particular party does, go pick up a book on it. But we can't just keep on saying the media because no one's forcing us to turn it on. We got responsibility in that as well.
I get that, but that's just one thing. We still talking about today, Sir Hale. Like, people watch the news. People read. If you watch the news, if you read, whether it's on social media, guess what you're going to hear about? You're going to hear about Breonna Taylor down here in Kentucky where I'm at.
You read on social media. Those don't even go together, right?
So should I not read the newspaper? Yes or no?
No, you should read them.
Okay, so am I going to learn about Breonna Taylor? Am I going to learn about Philando Castro?
But see what you're doing? You shouldn't just be reading that. You have to educate yourself. You go on social media to know certain things, but you have to educate yourself. And that means reading stuff outside of social media, because we know what this does. Anybody can write something to fit their narrative. So I'm saying we got to do more. And most people that I know, I think there's a stat out there. Most people get their news from social media. That's what I'm saying. We have an obligation to be more involved.
But that's a part of society, though.
So what's the solution?
Social media, their daddy.
Yeah. What's the solution though? What's the solution to people like we were just talking about? What's the solution to mind manipulation, or what's the solution for people that we talk about therapy a few minutes ago? No, hold on.
I demonstrated it.
I know, but I'm saying, what are the solutions for people? I'm going back to the therapy thing. What is the solution for people that, like the podcast said, that don't know they have a problem? Like me, if I go to Sir Hale and I'll be like, Sir Hale be like, hey, black man, hey dude, what you got that medium shirt on for? And I say, Sir Hale, shit, I'm 120 pounds. I don't see the damn problem. You see it. And if I believe that I'm 121 damn pounds,
y'all are killing me with these.
You're going to be stuck.
Killing me with this.
We're trying not to do victim Olympics.
Now I got a solution for that. Go to the doctor and let them do some blood work and check your cholesterol, right? Check your sugar, right? Come on.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people like Sir Hale, me and you had a conversation about people. Some people really don't know they have an issue. Like women will cuss their husband out and be like,
what do we, guys, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to.
Most of them know they have an issue, and they try to drag you into it.
Guys, let me reel it back in. What are you guys talking about? Life will show you if there's a problem. Now you can know there's a problem. Guys, hear me out. Like, life is going to show you. Now you can lie to yourself, but you're gonna have consequences, right? Something will happen to you physically, or you're gonna run out of money. Something's gonna happen. Like, this stuff ain't really hard. We're making it difficult. Life will show you what you need help with. If every relationship you're in fails, you need to go take a look at yourself and figure out why this is happening. If your clothes ain't fitting, that probably means you need to lose some weight. If you got bags under your eyes, it means you may need to get some sleep and lower the sodium, right? It's if you listen to stuff, go to the doctor and get the right information from the right places, life will show you what you need help with.
But sir, when your mama is beating you with extension cords and telling you ain't shit, just like your daddy, every time she get mad at you for every little thing you do for 12 to 14 years of your life, and then everybody else around you is telling you that it's okay and that's your mama, you need to respect her anyway. That we keep acting like, this is what I'm saying. I'm trying not to talk about the real stuff that happened because Saint gonna call me a victim Olympian, right? Because I'm gonna speak on something that didn't happen to him per se, so that's why I gotta be playing the victim Olympian. But I'm saying we are literally talking about people who are walking around.
I'm not gonna say nothing, brother. This is all smoke and mirrors. I'm not gonna say anything, bro. I know what an extension cord is. I had an extension cord tied to a Hot Wheels track, bro. I had all that, bro.
Congratulations,
Not just me. My entire line survived. All my cousins, we all survived.
You hit the genetic lottery, my man. You won. It's a lot of people that didn't. That's my point.
Podcast.
So
why is it gotta be a lottery? Why it gotta be a lottery?
I was trying to say this.
Yes.
Really? It's people literally walking around undiagnosed, bipolar, anxiety, depression.
That I agree with.
Get the therapy.
And this is what I'm saying. They don't know it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you got people walking around with stuff going on in them biologically, chemically, emotionally, psychologically, and they don't know it because it's hard for you to tell yourself mentally that it's something wrong with you, especially when you're young. When you're young, you're definitely going to project this thing outward. You're going to look at the world and say, well, the world ain't treating this person like that. Why they treating me like that? And I'm not doing as much as this person doing, so why am I getting punished more severely? Like, we're talking about young people.
I think that's the point of
their adulthood. And that's what I'm saying. Before we worry about politics and economics, can we treat the people?
No. See, this is what the issue is. We think that you have to stop and do one thing at a time. We are multifaceted and we have to be. Everybody's not broken. So the people who are not broken, they can focus on something. It's multifaceted, guys. And we can't say because something's wrong, let's stop and fix this. Because here's what life will show you. You fix one problem and then you got another one, right? Yeah. I'll give you a real example, then I want to hear Mr. He said. Like, this is as real as I'm gonna get, man. So I finally got my kids all good. I'm like, I'm cruising, and then they turn teenagers, a whole nother set of problems, right? So when you fix something, that's the way life works. Something happens, and you adjust, right? So we don't have the luxury of saying, this is one problem, fix it. It's multifaceted, and that's the way that the world works. But let me get Mr. He said in here really quickly. And then we're going to actually move to the last topic. I said I wanted to do this show in 2 hours, and we're going on 3.
It can't happen.
Yeah, that's been passed.
Great conversation. It's just dope, soaking all of this stuff in. For me, I would have to chalk it up to, like you said in the beginning, the fear. I think fear is a great motivator, and it gets used constantly here in Western society. And I mean, this is such a touchy subject, but I think the only thing that I would say is that, I mean, everybody made some great points. Everybody made some great points, but for me, um, it's a little different. I think that, when America instills this fear in us, it causes us to make certain decisions, paint certain narratives, accept certain narratives, and reject others. When it comes to these young men, I'm more in line with Lucky, I believe. I think we need to have a little more intelligence, because, the intelligence would let us have the background of knowing our history, knowing that words are important, and when we let them spin words to fit their narrative, I think it's just very disrespectful and insensitive. And the last thing I'll say is, the only reason I say that is because I look at it from the point that we look at it from the manosphere, quote unquote. We kind of are not listened to. Even when we say one thing, it's not accepted. And it's the same thing with these young men. I watched a whole interview where the young man said, I'm not against anybody. I just want to go home to my wife and my child. Like, he said so many things that, we didn't even accept, because he's still, using the words of all of the buzzwords that they use. Nobody even considered the things that he said, that he's not trying to separate everybody, that, it was just a post. And even on this platform, we use the word promote, and it was a post. If I post something about do the right thing, am I promoting it? So again, we as people accept their jargon, and that's the media, presenting to us what the narrative is. Here's what it is. He is this and he is that, and we accept it without doing any research, without looking at any documentaries. We just completely and wholeheartedly accept this. But I'm more with, the honorable minister. I stand with these men because they're men. They're speaking their truths, and I accept their truth. I'm not saying that I agree with everything they say. I'm saying that I won't dismiss the messenger despite the message. I'm listening to more what the message is. And when I look at the totality of who runs the industries, of, who is placing the buzzwords on these young men, the penalties versus who's not getting the penalties. When you look at it all in totality, you have to be a little bit more sensitive to these individuals that are just trying to put their life, their livelihood, their relationships, so on and so forth on the line, just to speak a little bit of volume to people who are looking for reasons to dismiss them. And not just them, there's Cam Newton, there's Nick Cannon. Like, we just look for reasons to dismiss despite any of the messages. So, when I see, even, you know what, I'll stop there. Thank you, sir.
Let me borrow that hat.
I don't want
macking right now.
Yeah, I want to respond to something said earlier, if I can. Just to piggyback on something, I always say I talk about Black future versus Black history. I agree, and it's something that shout out to Jay Speed. Talk to him all the time. I hear a lot of talk about Black billionaires and owning this and controlling this, like shooting all the way from where people are all the way to the super sky, as if all of a sudden there's going to be Black dudes. As soon as you got the TV on, it's a Black dude opening up a new hospital every week. It's not reality. Where people need to start as individuals, get in shape, get your money right, stop acting a damn fool. Just some 4 or 5 basic things. And if we can't work on the basic things just as an individual human being, there will be no community, no family, none of that stuff. And that's what you're seeing on an individual basis. And as you talk to the individuals, they said no. So what in the hell you do with that?
Was that a real question?
Honestly, yeah.
Oh yeah, they said again.
Hold on. Other than beat them in the head with a book from what happened in 1856, because I didn't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah,
what they're going to do now with the problem they have in the mirror right now and to get to tomorrow.
This is why
not discrediting 1856.
Hey, listen, no. Hold on, Dusto, because I always have to correct you. So it's 1826, and that's funny, and we're gonna get a laugh. However, let's bring this home. In 2022 in Philadelphia, they're apologizing right now. They're apologizing because the prison has been doing experiments on the men for the last 25, 30 years. This is 2022. In Philadelphia, in a prison, black men who are doing their time, 5 years, 10 years, getting out, they've been experimenting on these black men. Black, not white, black men, right? So they've been experimenting on them. This is a fact. Everybody has Google. Everybody has the news. Go look it up yourself. So this is 2022. So now 1856 is a long time ago, but 2022 is right now. In Philadelphia, they're publicly apologizing, and these families want to sue. There's a guy in Alabama right now in the prison that's almost 73 pounds. Have y'all seen him? They're starving him to death. They're leaving him, they have pieces, they have men with locks. They've cut their locks off and duct taped them to the wall and put Confederate signs under them and said, "We run the prison." And guess who leaked the information? A black guard that works in the prison. He says, "We're the only protection these black men have in this prison. And if we're not here, we're going to come into blood on the walls." They stabbed, they didn't beat them, they didn't kick them. This is 2022.
So black man.
Black man.
What does that have to do? Never mind.
No, ask your question. I want to hear your question. You said, what does it have to do with what?
Okay. You can't control what you can't control. If cops just kicked the door and just shot me in the forehead, can't control that. That's no solution. 1 out of 4 million chance or something. But Memphis, Chicago, Birmingham, Davenport, Iowa, there's still people all across the country that are still looking in the mirror tomorrow. Still, what do they do? Meaning, I get the Philadelphia thing. What about the rest of the people in the world? What do they do?
Somebody like Khalid Browder, the one they're starving to death in another prison on the whole other side of the country. They're starving black men to death. They got pictures of him. His sister brought the pictures to CNN and said, "Listen, this is my brother. Look at him." And his ribs are showing because they won't feed him. They're starving the black prisoners.
I just want to point out with black men, what you're saying too, if just to add, and you can go, Dusto. These situations that we know of is also most of the time black people in power. You ever seen a black man with a badge, or in certain situations, it's more detrimental to you. And in the Khalid Browder story, the judge that kept sending him back to the holding cell was black. It wasn't until the white lady got in, the most one that they talked about, that actually said, "Why is this in front of me?" Dismiss it. But by that time, he had already been in there. What was it, over 1,000 days or something like that?
Yeah.
Something crazy. He had been in there for so long that the damage was already done. So I just wanted to point that out because someone said something earlier. Most of the time, this boogeyman we talking about is ourselves. Once that one person get in that position of power, they think they're better than the rest of us. And then that's a lot of the situations happen. But
thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because one, what you just said proves my point that it's more about the system itself. That's what I'm saying. The system plays a certain way. We talk like it's broken, but it's been operating the same way since it was installed. So it's not broken, right? It's operating exactly how it's supposed to act. But what I'm saying is this is why we have these solutions. This is why you see all these rich black people, right? And it's particularly the rappers. But even a lot of the celebrities now, you notice every time you look up, their homes is being broken into. Whereas we used to have this reverence for them and this respect for them because the celebrities of old, at least in public, didn't look down on us, right? They didn't look down on the people who didn't have as much money as they do. But now we have regular people who worked for 40 years and retired, will sit on YouTube and talk shit about you because you ain't get to 6 figures. And it's like, my nigga, most people don't. Like, most people go get a job and they work and they retire, and that's okay. But we making people feel like if you ain't did what I did, then somehow you trash. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos got how many billions? So maybe you should take your ego and stick it up your. All I'm saying is that this is why we can't come together as a group, because we got people who fare well, right? And then instead of them looking back at people who didn't fare well and say, well, let me figure out what happened to you, so I'm in a better position now, I can address you, I can try to help you. But instead of me saying you need to play politics, you need to play group economics, I know the real reason why you ain't playing politics and group economics is because you suffered from some sort of trauma, some sort of, like I was, one of my favorite TV shows to do say I was knocked into a whole nother life. I made one bad choice and it knocked me into a whole nother life. That happens for a lot of people. And then you have a lot of people that's raised a certain way. The Bible says, train a child in the way that he should go. When he get older, it won't depart from him. We look at that scripture like it just means good. It don't. If you train them bad, when they get older, they won't depart from that either. That's what I'm saying. We dealing with real human beings. I myself started smoking cigarettes when I was 19. I smoked for almost 20 years. I quit smoking in 2016. Ain't smoked since. I know people that still smoking. Does that make me better than them? No. I just found a reason to quit faster than they did. That's it. I don't judge them for smoking, even though sometimes I might say, man, y'all know y'all need to put them cigarettes down. I smoked weed for 20 years. I quit. I found a reason to quit. Does that make me better than everybody else? I know cats that I grew up with that's damn near homeless if they not. I'm not. Does that make me better than everybody else? It's like, get out of your damn ego. Most of these people that we sit on YouTube and judge because they're not where we are financially will kick your ass. But you want to sit on YouTube and do all this talking about what people ain't instead of trying to understand why they're that way. They weren't born that way. They didn't just wake up one day 25, 18, 37 and broken. Okay? That's not
finished, bro?
Black people. They have experiences that lead them to see. And as a person that spent the last
nothing to do with anything I was talking about.
For myself, I understand that now. When I see other people and I see their behavior, it's more of an understanding. It's more of empathy now than it is judgment for their behavior. I see the coding. Oh, I could tell he about went through this or she about went through that. I understand your experiences, man. You're not the only one. That's why I talk. That's why I sit on YouTube and talk about my own life versus always trying to find stories about other people's family members to talk about. I talk about my life for the people that's just like me that feel like they don't have a voice because somebody gonna try to silence them or tell them they running in the victim Olympics.
Podcast, what the hell are you talking about? Ain't got nothing to do with what I said. Nothing.
I'm talking about what I want to. That's my whole point, what I just said.
Okay, what the hell are you talking to me for? It ain't got nothing to do with anything I said. Nothing. Oh.
Ego. Thank you. Checkmate. Proven.
Hold on, guys.
You said it as you were replying to me.
You think that song in the background about you too, don't you?
Guys, check it out, guys. Like this is. I respect everybody, but this has tired me because we keep on saying that black people get to a place and they look down. Most black people don't do that. Let me tell you what. Most black people, when they get something else, they go and try to take everybody out to dinner, or pay people's bills off, or show. It ain't that we look down and we judge. It's just that we're not smart, and we don't prop people up when they do good. We want to take from them. So it's not just. This is not one. There's an echo. Somebody.
That's what I was hearing. I'm like, where's it coming from?
Can I tell you something? But I can rewind the tape if you need me to. That's contradictory to what you just said about 3 minutes ago.
Man, listen, you in these rewinding the tapes. I'm very clear, like on this, like.
Okay, so you just said most black people, right, when they get a little something that they want to, share with people and that. But at the same time, just a few minutes ago, you talked about one of the problems with us is that when we get on, we make it about ourselves. Well, I'm straight. Get yours. So
I said a lot of us do that, and a lot of us do that. But in general, most of us on here have gotten a little extra money and then wanted to go do something for somebody, right?
Hey, real quick, Dusto.
Yeah, most of us have done that, and that's our heart because we've been conditioned that when we get something extra, go help somebody else. The issue is not that. The issue is not the giver. It's sometimes when people don't have and they don't know what it costs you to do what you've done. They want to pull from you and think that you're judging, even though you're not judging. You just have a standard. And that's what I'm saying. So I don't want to just talk about it from one side. I want to speak at it because some people say I'm arrogant because I come from money. I'm like, I've been in poverty for 30 years, right? I'm just doing well for 5 of them. But people look at you and they assume you're judging because they don't know the work that I put in. And that's what I'm saying. We see that there's a lot in our culture. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm so glad you said that.
Hey, sir,
Please, because this goes further my point on why I speak the way I speak. Because I don't like it when people judge black people as if they just wake up broken. It's not.
No. Yeah. So I don't think any of us are doing that. But guys, so let me do this. Last question, then we out of here. With all the stuff that happened, just think about 2022. Just think about just this year, not the last 2 years. Just this year, the cases, the big name cases, people being deleted, kids being deleted, politics, stuff in the church. Come on, guys, stuff happening. Do you guys believe that right now, as it stands, that we're desensitized to pain and suffering now? And I say this because it is. You guys remember some years back when it was like we started seeing a lot of people being deleted, and it was like this pain you felt in your chest. Now you be real sad for about 30 minutes, and then you move on to the next. And what that can look like is that we become cold. Do you think that we're cold as people? We don't care, or is it that we're desensitized because we've been overloaded with so much bad stuff?
It looks
I
that way.
think we've been there. Okay, I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead.
It looks that way because so much is going on in the world. We get hit with something every day. You turn on TV, you turn on your phone, you turn on social media. Your mom called you. It's like, damn, I got that much tears in my body to keep crying or keep thinking about something if it's going to happen the following day or the following week or in 2 months from now. Like, I don't have no breathing time. So at this point, I'm just like, and I'm gonna take it personal. It was just like me. I lost my brother. He was deleted. And then right before I had my child, my grandmother passed away. Literally a month before I had my child. So all that hit me back to back is just, yeah, no, I don't have no tears for no one else. And it's like all this we seeing in the world, what we're desensitized because like it's not going to stop. The government's not helping. So what am I to care if they don't care?
We are. Well, I agree. I think we are desensitized a lot. I think that they did a case study in New York City where this guy and these two guys and a girl went out and they did domestic violence, and they had the guy act. Have you seen the little podcast? They had him act. Yeah, and they beat and he went and grabbed this girl and started hitting her in public. People were passing by on their cell phones, still talking. No man said nothing to the dude. Everybody just sitting there on their phones, playing on their phones while he beating this girl in the middle of the crowd. Nobody said nothing, right? So it's like, everybody's getting desensitized now. I think people are saying, it is what it is. Like, oh my God, something happened to them kids. And you like, man, I feel bad for them kids. Breaking news. Mass shooting at Walmart. You like, damn, those people got shot. Oh, breaking news. Grocery store in New York. Mass shooting. You like, when do you have time? Like she just said, when do you have time to be like, damn, you don't have time for empathy anymore. Every moment it's something. So people they just numb now.
It happened with the New Yorkers back in the day. You know what I mean? When the mob was doing their thing, right? I'm pretty sure the New Yorkers got desensitized to an extent because they waking up, you know what I mean? Got his people, you know what I mean? This family done hit that family and whatever. You know, more. And then recently we're looking at the hip hop world, the hip hop culture, in particular the drill rappers, right? They've taken that street mentality and all that hyper violence and they've made it popular music. And then you tie to that Columbine, Sandy Hook, and all the rest. So yeah, Americans are absolutely desensitized because as a young guy coming out the hood, it's just what it was. You know what I mean? I didn't know any different. That's my bubble. I mean, I know I can walk outside any given day and see somebody just laying there. You know what I mean? It was what it was. Joined the military, went to war, and I saw how it affected everybody else. I was confused. Like, why y'all tripping? You know what I mean? Like, hey, so and so is MIA, so and so is KIA. Yeah, so was my people back home. To me, it was just I was hardened to it. But now it's kind of like in popular culture and, Americans You know, and that's what sells clicks and gets, you know, sells newspapers and all the rest. So, I mean, it's just bad. That's where we are. So when you hear about it, you know, like Takeoff was the latest one, but we know it's going to be another rapper. You know what I mean? Give it what? Maybe one more before the end of the year. Definitely by spring, it's going to be somebody. You know what I mean? And it's sad to say, and it's terrible because that's you know, that's our future out there getting lit up every night. You know what I mean? And we only talk about the ones that are famous. But we know right now, especially Southside Chicago, somebody failed tonight. South Central, somebody failed tonight. Orange Mound, somebody failed tonight. Liberty City, somebody failed tonight. Dallas, 3 or 4 people failed tonight. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, we're definitely desensitized to it. It's like everyone's a soldier now, and everyone's, you know, used to it.
The sad part about that, DL, is I have Chicago Crime Watch, and somebody's most definitely, every time I open up my Facebook page, somebody's child, somebody's father, uncle, they are on that page every day. And it's like, damn.
Every day. Don't make the
I
news.
just saw somebody else on here yesterday. Now somebody else.
What they're saying, South Central, what was that line at the end of South Central? And Ice Cube was saying that, you know, his character was saying that, you know, my brother wasn't even in the newspaper. Don't nobody care about what goes on in the hood or whatever. That's what's going on now, coast to coast. It's a sad thing. And here's the thing, I don't have it. People always say, what are we gonna do about it? Man, I don't know. I have no solution whatsoever for that. It's like asking me how we gonna stop, you know what I mean, these active shooters. I don't know.
I agree that people are desensitized to it, but I do want to make a caveat. But first I want to say this really quickly to Saint. I find it so ironic that you was in the military. You should know that you and I can both go to the military. We can do the same tours together. You can come home and be perfectly fine. But for some reason, I'm suffering from PTSD. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same way this plays out in our communities. Well, yeah, 2 people can be in the same neighborhood, grow up the same way, but I'm not you. My chemical makeup is not yours. I'm not you biologically. So we can go through the same things and it will still affect me differently. So while I agree that people are desensitized, and I agree I was desensitized, and I'm way more desensitized to it than I was when I was younger. When I was younger, every time I heard about death, it bothered me. I spent the better portion of from 11 years old to 34 thinking that I would not make it past 33. That was partly based on my relationship with the story of Christ. And so I lived with that for a long time. I was, well, they don't like saying that word, but I was one of those people who like to harm themselves, cut on my wrist, take a lot of pills, all that type of stuff. And even that, doing that to myself did not desensitize me. I remember this little kid got killed in the drive-by. I went to the funeral just because it was local. I couldn't even make it to the casket. I got halfway up to the front and I just turned around and walked away. I just didn't want to believe it. You know, that little kid's 5 years old could be gunned down like that.
Man, podcast. That's a fact, bro.
Yeah. And it was like that kind of really that. And right after that, I ended up getting shot. And it was like those 2 things kind of like woke me up to the life I was leading as a gang member.
Podcast, how old were you?
I want to say I was 17.
Now check this out. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something that really. Now I'm gonna just tell you. I'm gonna go on a little rant. I'm tired tonight, y'all. So I'm gonna go on a little rant. Y'all know what ticks me off about stuff like that happens like this? Is we say things like when people are that young and they get gunned down or something terrible happens and they lose their life, and we say God must have been ready for them.
Yeah.
Now, what it must have been their time. Y'all know how much that pisses me off when we say stuff because that dismisses me off too. Yeah, I'm sitting here like, no, that was way ahead of their time. Yeah. And I know we say that to bring comfort, but no, it's ugly. If somebody is under 7, like 7, 5, 17, 20, 28, that ain't that how young Takeoff was? 28.
28. Yep.
Yeah, he make 30. Yep.
You know that feeling that you get in your chest of fear When you see somebody passed away, you look on their graveyard and they born in the same year as you, it's a humbling thing because you realize how fragile life is. And we say things like, God must have been ready for him. You know, grandma wanted him back and God knew it was. I get so because it dismisses the fact that this should not happen. And the problem is, once we accept this as normal, we become desensitized and we get prepared to say, family, we got to come back together. We got to spend more time, you know, with each other. We all the stuff we say at the funerals, because we're desensitized and we're accepting of something that we should be pissed off about. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I use comedy to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because you know I'm a professional comedian. So one of my go-to jokes is how I grew up in the era where, you know, when I was 16, the news would say, you know, young black boys are dying from 14 to 17. I'd be like, oh, I'll be 17 next year. And then I hit 17, that number just went up to 21. I hit 21, that number just went up to 26. You know what I mean? And you know, to me, how did I deal with it? Well, in my mind, I was just like, the government trying to kill me, just joking about it. And then decades later, here I'm on stage telling jokes about it to people who come from very different bubbles. They thought it was funny, but it was my way of reminding folks how it was just being a young black man was dangerous. It was a dangerous occupation. Yeah, just being born. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize until I was an air traffic controller sitting in the tower with a bunch of old white folks. And I'm sitting there and they're telling their stories about people dying or whatever. They're all like the average age must have been like 52. These are all old people who got, like, they can stay in longer. They got grandfather in on the rules. I'm not going to bore you with that part. But they turned to me. I'm the youngest guy up there. And they're like, see, when you get old, you're going to be talking about your friends dying. And then I spent the next 15 minutes naming as many people as I can name that died since I was 12. And the looks on their faces, they were shocked. They just looking at me. I'm like, yeah, that's since I was 12. And then the last couple minutes with me just naming the people who died in the past 18 months. And they're just looking at me. And I was like, hey, man, that's the world I come from. I'm glad I'm here. And it changed the way they saw me. From that moving forward for the rest of my career, they would put me to a side like, were you lying about that? Like, nah, bro.
But you know what, though? You know what? I just thought about this too. Another thing, Sir Hale, that this particular, it was my generation that started it. I hate to admit that, but it's a saying from this movie Paid in Full that has run away through this culture, and that's niggas die every day, B. Right? It's one of the most famous lines from the movie Paid in Full, and it's like every time somebody said, man, the rapper kid who they shot up his truck and his boy died in the shooting, you had people mocking that, like actually reenacting him screaming and in pain about his boy dying. Like that's how bad it's gotten with the youth. I'm just talking about the youth at this point. They will actually mimic and mock it. You see what I'm saying? So again, do we want that kid? He's 18, right? He has the right to vote. Is that the kid we want at the polls? Probably not. You see what I'm saying? So I agree with you that it has been desensitized, but that too also, you know what I'm saying, has that came from somewhere. When I was growing up, bro, the murders, it was ridiculous, right? But like I said, it bothered me. But I'm a sensitive guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sensitive and I'm very demonstrative. Bro, I cried for days when Michael Jackson died. For days. Like day after day after day after day after day. You know what I'm saying? Like I
love your
cannot
podcast.
Is it because you can remember the time?
Part of it
was it a thriller to you?
No, listen, part of it was for the same reason that I felt. I didn't cry, but I really was super duper sad when Prince died. I was sad
when we lost Mike, man. I took it like a smooth criminal.
You stupid.
You know what, y'all? Look, I tried not to break. I tried not to break. I tried not to.
What I was thinking in my mind was they did this to these people. You know, the running theory in the community is that they did that to them people. And I'm telling you, y'all don't want to acknowledge this, but these people did whatever they could do to get out of poverty, to get into the top 10%, to get into the top 1%, and all this, and still somehow, some way, drugs, vitiligo, child, accusations and stuff. Murdered in your own house. Like it affects people's minds. We just talked about earlier how our people in this culture spend so much time focused on celebrities. If you think it don't have an effect on them, and it's just too much. Celebrities, it's the people in your neighborhood, it's your families, and
we got to focus on the man in the mirror.
Y'all ain't shit.
Hey, sister Gail was right though. Some people just want attention. Sir Hale, you had that chat was just up a second ago, but yeah, some people just want attention, not help. That's real talk too.
Yeah, so guys, let me do this. Guys, normalize therapy. I am a strong-willed person, and I am a little bit honestly, I'm a perfectionist, and that's not a good thing. Perfectionism comes from, it's not a good thing. So I didn't realize I needed a therapist until I knew I needed a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go because I thought I was going to be crazy. I thought I was going to be one of the people in the glass room. I would paint the scene for y'all, but I don't want to be disrespectful. Right. I'll do it in the back chat. I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm going to demonstrate it. Right?
No, I'm sorry. No, you should. This is what I'm saying. You should, because there are a lot of people who are actually thinking that. And if they hear you say it, then what it does to them is they say,
I'm gonna say the words. I want to demonstrate it. And when in the back chat, you're gonna say, "Sir Hale, you were right." So I guarantee it. So, but I thought that I was going to be, diagnosed as crazy. But let me tell you something. Being heard, man, that can change your life.
Yes, sir.
And when you're being heard, and they're not trying to fix what you feel, you can just say it. Sometimes you answer your own questions by being able to get it out. And so I'm encouraging everybody to really take some time and to find a good therapist. And here's the key, guys. If your therapist does the most talking, they're a terrible therapist. A good therapist facilitates an atmosphere for you to be free to talk about what's important to you. And as you guys start talking more, they'll notice certain points, and then things that are recurring will focus on that, because that's a recurring problem. But guys, listen, therapy is not supposed to fix you. It's really your step in taking responsibility for your life. And it's important that we encourage everybody to do that. As a matter of fact, what I'll do, if there's somebody on here who needs therapy, I will go a step further than in just encouraging you, and I'll take care of your first month of therapy with BetterHelp.com. I will do that with one person.
I thought you were going to ask them to come to the front. It's come to the front.
Yeah, this is how serious I am about this. Won't you come? Right, this is how serious I am about that, because
the doors of the church are open. Won't you come to the front?
Will let him come.
I mean, seriously, guys, like people are really out there, and I didn't notice. What got me is there are people who you look at and you be like, they doing good for themselves, and they doing terrible, right, for themselves. And it's a deep thing, and it's because they internalize stuff. Now I want people dealing with that pain, not if they don't have to. And then here's the last thing, and then Dale Cook, you can go ahead. Like in getting a therapy, you got to have a circle of people. Like this is where really this is the critical point. Like you got to have people that you can be real with, and take off the shirt and tie with, and just be yourself. Like even if it's just one person, if you try to just be strong and carry it all yourself, that's too much pressure, and it's too many people who are breaking under pressure. So you got to have your tribe. Okay, go ahead, Dale. Say anybody else who want to chime in?
Yeah, I just want to stop allowing people that aren't in the circle to put you down about going to therapy. So you got the people that be like, "Oh, you're a punk. You need somebody else to tell you what you need to do." And you're like, "No, that's not necessarily." Some people just need someone to vent to, and that's going to sit and listen, not someone that's going to judge and constantly tell them, "Oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. It's not that serious." You don't know what's serious. That's why the high rates of
self-deletion
is so high in the United States, and especially in certain cultures, because they're trying to reach out to people that they thought was close, is supposed to be in their circle, but no, that person is the one that's putting you down.
Yeah, especially among men.
Yes.
especially my
And
man.
it's a
But
lot of black men that feel so insecure that they feel like they can't sit on someone's couch and vent to. And that's not necessarily true. Black men are the main ones that need to sit and vent because there's a lot that goes on in the world that other men in different race don't go through that they go through.
all right, so we're brother Sir Hale, for real, just salute to you, man. That's real talk. I know I was trying to make it light, but again, that's how I deal with stuff like that. I use comedy. I've always has, but that's real talk. And the fact that you're like, hell, I'll get you started. We need more brothers like you to reach out with this message to get people to come and get help. And I tell you this, I am the opposite of brother podcast. I'm the way I came up. It was just whatever. I dealt with it, and I got one button. I ain't gonna play the button because it might. I don't. It's just Bill Burr. I don't want to get you demonetized, but it's one of those things. I was a typical guy. I kept it all inside. I pushed it down. I was just a man. Still am. And all the stuff I dealt with in my life, all the loss of life, all the the hardcore stuff I was doing, all that whatever. It didn't catch up with me until I had this career, and I'm away from all that, and I'm in a world that I never knew existed. And something happened on the job. Being an air traffic controller, it's a very stressful job, as we all know. Something happened. Something really bad happened, and it led to a loss of life. And that's what broke me down. It was that incident. It broke me down. I didn't know what was going on. And all it did was it forced me to deal with the decades of the stress, the decades of the loss and everything. And I dealt with it initially on my own, internally, doing what I'm doing, went home, was alone, did whatever I had to do to think I got myself right. But then the FAA started giving me a hard time. And I knew that there was a program where I could make the FAA pay for therapy sessions. So I went, not because I thought I needed it. I went because I wanted to spend the FAA's money, right? I figure I'm getting back at them, making them spend this money. I picked the most expensive doctor I could find in Beverly Hills, and I went. But man, she helped me. And it was that opened my eyes about therapy. I was like, oh yeah, people need to do this. This woman helped me to this day. I reach out to her every now and then because she'll keep in touch. Like, it's off the books. Like, what's up? How you doing? Because she dealt with, people who cut themselves and people who couldn't eat right and people who were mad because they were worth $1 billion. So when I came through the door, she had something real. Like, this is what I went to school for. I want to be able to help you out. And we talked about everything that I went through. So yeah, bro, that's 100 what you're doing, man. I can't, what's the word I'm looking for? I truly respect that you're reaching out to us, especially our community, because we need to do that. Black men, black women, people of color, people who don't have a lot of money. There are resources out there. You can get help, but you got to go find it.
Yeah, and most jobs offer better help for 8 free sessions, I think. So if you're working, they do offer those sessions for free as well. So look into that as well.
Facts. So guys, let's do this. Let's do final thoughts, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Lucky, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking with me. But let's start with Lucky, and then we'll go around for final thoughts. Lucky, it's on you.
I'll just say overall tonight, I thought this was a really good conversation, even the sidebar conversations. But overall, I just want people to keep in mind that when you're born into a sinful world, you're going to see trauma. You're going to see things that are going to shake you. And the thing with trauma is it causes re-victimization, which you don't even realize you're doing it. But every time you talk, you make yourself a victim, and you put things in your way that makes it sound like you cannot achieve these things because you are a victim, forgetting that most people in the world, if not everybody, have and will experience things that are traumatic, such as death, such as beating, anything that it takes, maybe not to them, but in the world. So I think what I would like to hear in conversations is people talk more about healing. We get it. Everybody has been through things that seem like it's forever, seems like it's a horrible thing. But if we understand healing, then we understand more so there's steps to doing it, which means you would have to talk to somebody. You cannot just go pray it to God. There are people that are placed here to actually help you. So if you are truly tired of being in those situations, you would understand that even successful people, like we talked about tonight, the people in the powers that be, or getting yourself in those situations, you would also see that these people have a routine that's repetitive. And in those routines, they actually meditate, or they do something where we call, like, for example, Russell Simmons. most successful people have something that they do where they tap in on what they believe in that keeps them healed, that keeps them grounded. You have to get moral principles that you follow, because in life, things are very, I'm going to just say demonic. Things are very negative. Things are put here to actually have this spiritual warfare that we can't even imagine, because we are just human beings going through it. So I would just say in general, just be mindful that we are all going to go through trauma. However, it's the healing part that gets you to the place that you want to be. Are we going to stop seeing anything? No, we have the news. We have things that are going to report traumatic situations all the time. You have plane crashes happening. You have people getting shot. That doesn't mean that you don't go outside your door. That just means that you're more aware of the things that are around you. And I think that in this conversation, it just shows that our community is different, because we are really good at being programmed to make ourselves victims every time we tell stories. So I think I would like to see more of us stop sounding like victims and start sounding like victors that actually are here to get things done, looking for resolution, actually pushing the problem through. Or we're going to be here next year talking about the same thing. We can talk about more things that are important to us besides body count. And that's all I want to say.
We talked about body count. Did I miss that?
I know that's coming up next. Kiara, it's on you. Thanks for being here. Always glad to see you. What's your final thoughts on the show tonight?
My final thoughts is, my first one is black men, like I said, don't allow someone to dictate what you want to do with your life. If you think you need to talk to someone, get your butt on that couch and vent away. I know we talked about how do we see ourselves? Do we see ourselves as a race? No, I see myself as me. I don't see myself black, white, Hispanic, nothing. I see myself as a person who's just here to make a point in the world and become something better in my life. And it was another subject that we talked about, but other than that, overall, good show. Everyone had great points, especially podcast Lucky and I forgot the other guy name, but yeah.
Excellent. Black man, it's on you, my brother.
Well,
first of all, thanks so much for being here, man. Really appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no problem, my brother. I just want to say in closing, we had I love the conversation and the dialogue that we have amongst each other. And at the end of the night, we still can have some laughter. We still can have some healthy discord, and nobody's sending each other inboxes about meet me outside. So I'm thankful for that. But I will say about the whole situation, man. Listen, we all have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to our families first, and then we can pour it out into others. But we first have to heal. There's a lot of healing that needs to take place in men and women together. And once the healing takes place and gets all the fog out of your mind, then you can see clearly. So again, I really, really appreciate Sir Hale saying about the BetterHelp. That is amazing to do that. If you do have a job and they do offer it, please take care of it, because a lot of people out here, they won't, and you can't trust you to get you out of what you got you into. So you definitely need to seek therapy and have someone listen to you so you can move forward. And I'll just say this in closing. Don't have ocean mind dreams camping out by the lake. So that's all I have for tonight. Peace.
My brethren, Desto, you were on here, man. Appreciate your perspective. What's your final thoughts on the show tonight? In final thoughts, yeah.
Is my mic still echoing? Or am I good?
Yeah,
sound good.
You sound like you're on Mount Olympus, though.
You be all right.
No, you
quiet,
good.
loud. I don't know what the problem is, but anyway, I guess I'm not the favorite person when it comes to certain opinions, certain topics. I don't discredit Black history, but I want to see Black future, or just future in general. At the end of the day, each individual is responsible for living their life. You've been dealt the cards that you were dealt with. Can't change it. Today is today. Yesterday was yesterday. What are you going to do to make tomorrow the best day that you can? If you fail tomorrow, what are you going to do to make the next day the best day? What are you going to do to make the next day? What's your plan? What is it that you're missing? What is it that you need? Go find 5 people. Identify 5 problems with yourself. Go find 5 people who solve those problems or look like they got a solution. Summarize those 5 opinions of what you should do to fix it. Go try it out for 5 days. Go try it out 5 times for 5 days. Eventually, you might have solved the problem. then go to the next one. Go to problem 2, try to solve that one. At the end of the day, solutions only. Can't change what things are, but we can change ourselves. That's all I got.
Much appreciation. Reverend Podcast, you had a lot to say tonight, man. What's your final thoughts on tonight's subject?
Bishop.
Why didn't nobody tell the people that have a problem with what Kanye and what Kyrie said and tweeted about to stop running in the Victim Olympics? They literally be trying to cancel people, take people's money. I never hear that term used on the alphabet community when they're trying to cancel people, stop people from being able to provide for themselves because they felt some type of way about something that was said. But we use that term to describe people who talk about the actual trauma that happens. There was a time when it was okay for a man to beat his wife. There's a lady who used to sing with Ray Charles. Her name was Margaret Hendricks.
Margaret Hendricks. Yeah.
She had a song called A Lover's Blues. And in the song, she said, sometimes you beat me, but it's okay. Sometimes you cheat on me or mistreat me, but it's okay because I know you'll be back and we'll be back cool. Now, how many women today are going to say, you know what? That's cool. Yeah, it is cool for a man to beat on his wife. Not one. And why is that? Because some victim was running in the Olympics about women being beat on. They talked about it and they keep talking about it. They got a whole month where they make everybody in the NFL wear pink ribbons. Is that Victim Olympics? Why do we only use this term when it applies to black men? Oh, but black men supposed to know that something's wrong with them. They're supposed to run to the couch and go sit on the couch and all this other stuff, right? Where at the same time, we telling them don't be victim Olympians. Don't be a victim, but understand that you possibly could have been a victim of something and you might need to go see a therapist. I'm trying not to cuss because this Sir Hale show. But again, like I said, black people really frustrate me. Be all over the place. Won't pick a side and stand on it. At the end of the day, there's a justification for somebody explaining to you why they are the way that they are. There's a justification for somebody else explaining why other people might be the way that they are, so that you can empathize instead of judge. The whole reason why I was doing this series, Women in Living Color, is because I wanted men to understand why our women think the way that they think. Well, let's review their history. In this series, I interview these women and I start from childhood. And I go from baby 2 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 14, 14 to 18, and then into their adulthood, asking them questions. What was it like growing up? What was your relationships like with men? We have women out here like I Am the Single Woman who are saying they don't want no husband. They don't even want to be bothered with that. They ain't trying to have no kids or none of that. And a lot of people are sitting back in judgment. They not trying to understand why she even thinks that way. And that's what we do. We want to disagree with people without understanding why they think the way that they think. I'm very demonstrative. I sound aggressive and like I'm angry. So did Malcolm X. And he got shunned the same way I did. And ironically, we both have the same birthday. Black man came in, took what I said to a whole nother level. Nobody once said, black man, you're running in the Victim Olympics. Because he speaks softly, like Martin Luther King. It is what it is. But I'm saying, but for all the people that have ever been listening to me and maybe listening to me now or later on the rewatch on this video, man, don't be afraid to talk. Talk. Because I'm telling you something, what I've realized is that everybody talk when something happened to them. That's when they stop being quiet. See, when it happened to you, they want you to be quiet. But when it happened to them, now they loud. I've seen it. Black women had nothing to say about the violence in Chicago. They son get murdered, now they marching. Right? When it was somebody else's kid, or they need to keep their kid out the street. When it's their kid, let's put the guns down.
Ooh-wee.
That's black people. That's why we can't come together. Because y'all FOS. My name is Lil Podcast. I do have a channel called I Seen Your Lil Podcast. I am the realest black person on YouTube. I talk about my own life.
Calm down now, little podcast.
Period.
Calm
I
down.
spend my whole time talking about everybody else. And contrary to popular belief, sitting on the couch is not the only form of therapy. YouTube can be therapy. Even Sir Hale just told you, sometimes some people just really need to be heard. Because once you start talking, you hear yourself talk, you give yourself answers. That's what happens most of the time in therapy sessions. So don't let nobody tell you what your therapy needs to be either. Don't let nobody try to force you to take drugs or just go sit on somebody's couch. You don't have to do that. You can show up here Sundays, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central for Super Sundays. Or you can go check out some of the videos on my channel. There's some therapy in there. Trust me. Because I talk about my real life. You are not alone. And we will heal the world. The black woman is God.
I was just about to boot you before you said it. I was about to boot you before you said it. Now to the chat, everybody was wondering. Podcast says that we're FOS. We're focused on solutions. So podcast, thank you for the acronym. Really appreciate you, man. So
Call me Martin. I don't like it.
Oh my God, that was genius.
So Dale Saints, it's final thoughts on you, man. What's your final words?
Yo, just shout out to Sir Hale Speaks, man. I just wanted to come over here and support, bro. You know what I mean? I came across you on Suzette Speaks, you know, and ever since then I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to holler at that brother. And then I got tied up in doing what I was doing, and I didn't get a chance to, you know, get over here. So now I'm over here. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Again, I came to support. You know, salute to everybody on the panel who's still here now. Those who had to jump and dip out. Salute to everybody. We talked about a lot, but the one thing that resonates with me tonight, black folks, our community, people out there in general, go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody. If you can get you a licensed therapist, get one. If you can't, you know what I mean, go talk to somebody who will listen, someone whose opinion you trust, someone you respect, and someone who loves and respects you. But you really want to talk to trained folks, go talk to someone. There's no shame in it. It is what it is. Go talk to someone. I just want to say that. I want to get that out there, yo. So thanks for having me on, brother. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm definitely, I'll hang out for a minute. You know what I mean? All is well.
Yeah, DLC, man, real stuff. You got to come back, man. Your perspective was, I like your perspective, and I really appreciate you coming up here. I really appreciate it. Sir Charles, is on you, man. Final thoughts. What you got for us, my brother?
All right. Well, first of all, another excellent show for the books. I appreciate the other panelists' perspectives and the chat. Nice conversation. I want to say that, you know, the way I look at it is we're in a war of sorts, and that war is essentially for us to position ourselves as a people, a force to be reckoned with, and for positioning ourselves to obtain power. But just like in any other war, you need cohesiveness, you need, you know, unity, you need resources, and you need strategy. Largely, we struggle in all three areas. We don't have the cohesiveness. We squander our resources, and even if we did come up with a strategy, I mean, what's the point? And I think what it first comes down to is that before we could address any other people in our society, we got a lot of cleaning up to do in our own households. First and foremost, we can start by just respecting each other. It's not so hard to do. I don't even have to like you. I could actually just respect you just because you are a person. But you know, we have problems there. I think we talked about you know, people people not even acknowledging the fact that they have a problem. And I think that first and foremost, that is the step to correcting any issue, is first acknowledging that you have a problem, but don't just dwell in that. Because we've all, a lot of us have graduated to the point of acknowledging that we have a problem, but then we stop right there. And that's where we err as well. We need to have solutions. We need to come up with a plan to move out of just talking about the problem. And that's where we talk about the victim Olympics, is that you stay talking about the problem and there's never any solutions. They go and it's like, well, what's the point of having a discussion? So first and foremost, I'd say that as a solution, we need to acknowledge the fact that we need to be respectful to each other. First and foremost, it's not so hard. That's my message to the people. Before, I don't have to like you. I could just respect you. I could respect your space. I could respect the fact that you have your own life, you have your own issues, and I could try not to disrupt your existence in this world. And that being said, somebody else make a point. I make a note about it, and we talked about certain panels like this, or people Googling information, and I just wanted to make a point that we need to, if you're going to search up information, there's no utility in searching up information that supports your limited beliefs or your limited way of thinking, because at the end of the day, all it is going to just heighten or enhance where you are right now, which is you're limiting yourself. There's a whole world out there of people who are willing to do business with you or willing to get you out of your situation, but it all starts up here. All starts right here. Anyhow, that being said, change your mind, and you can actually change your whole reality. I've witnessed that. That is the truth. And anybody who can dispute that, I'll be willing to debate them all day long. It all starts up here. What you focus on will expand, and what you think about the most becomes your life. So if you think about problems, your life is problematic. That being said, I am one half of Mindfully Misunderstood. My name is Sir Charles the God. Please check me out on YouTube, all social media handles. And Sir Hale, thank you for having me this evening.
My brother, appreciate you. All right, y'all, it's been another dope conversation. Before we get out of here, listen, guys, podcast showed me how to do something that I did not know. I unstarred all the super chats. So before the show ends, I'm going to show love again to D.O. Saint with the $20 super chat. Again, D.O. Saint with the $10 super chat. What We Know Podcast came through with the $10 super chat. He said, "Don't trip, I'm here for the Pick It Up song." I'm going to play that in just a minute. Salute to Steven with the $1.99 super chat. He said, "Salute to my guy Beans." Absolutely. Rush is in the building with the $2 super chat. But another one from Steven. Much appreciation. Thank you so much for that. Creatively Created Crochet Triple C with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Hope to have you on as well. My brother Blackman Unfiltered. He said, "Sir Hale, I need this link to teach." And he came in and did just that. Appreciate you, my brother. Another one from Steven. Much appreciation, man. Thank you so much. Kirkwood says, "Stephen A. Smith hairline." Oh, I'm not going to read this, but listen. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Stephen A.'s hairline. Much appreciation. I'm on my way to you as well. Salute to Stephen. Thank you so much. Again, Stephen, thank you so much. To Mosaic with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, "Good evening to everybody." Thank you so much. Another one from Stephen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Gail Knight has come in and just dropped up. She says, "Some just want attention, not to help." Absolutely. Braves Club with the $4.11 super chat. Thank you so much. This is therapy for myself. Y'all love it and share. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And then the final one from Steven. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Guys, another dope show. Get help. I'm going to leave y'all with this, guys. Get help. We have too many people who will never see their potential. Dreams will die. Visions will perish. Talent will be in the grave because we went through this life badgered and bruised and beaten and didn't know that we were deserving. We were worth being heard. So to everyone who has felt isolated and broken and unheard and rejected and isolated and weighed down and burdened, you are worth being heard. I need you to hear that you are worth being heard. And whether or not you've come from a family or from a circle or from a network where you've been taught that what's important to you, that you, your heart and your mind and your spirit aren't important to take care of. I'm telling you that regardless of what people have made you feel, that you are worth being heard. We need you to live, and we need you to live being free from all that stress and all that baggage and all that pain that you carry, like those tears you cry by yourself, those dark nights that you have, the pain that you deal with that makes you say, you know what, to hell with life itself. All that stuff is a weight on you that you deserve to get that off of you. And whether or not you feel like you have people in your immediate circle that you can talk to or not, I'm telling you that you are not in what you feel by yourself. There are people who care about you. There are people who love you. There are people who do want the best for you. And sometimes you find out that family is not really related to you. And you have to go on a quest to find your people, because you got your people. I hope tonight that with all the people that you've heard on here tonight, that you felt connected in some way, whether you hear the story of Black Men Unfiltered or the comedy of D.L. Saint, or you hear the stoicism of Sir Charles, or the relatability of Kiara, or the wisdom of Lucky, or the blunt truth of Dusto, or the heart and passion of Little Podcast. I'm hoping that something you took, you felt, and you received, and that you leave this stream knowing that you're worth being heard, and that your pain and trauma should not be overlooked. You dealt with something, but your history does not define your future. You have something to live for, and I'm putting the demand on you to live. But guys, it's been another one. We appreciate you guys joining. Until next time, Sir Hale Speaks is out the building. We'll talk with you guys again soon. Peace. May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hale Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate it. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure. Hold on. Shout out to Lucky with the 499 super chat. She says second definition for victim is literally a person who's tricked or duped. Good show, Sir Hale. Listen, we showed our love. Lucky, appreciate you. Listen, we're going to play this song. We're going to get out of here for real, y'all. Listen, we do what we do. It's been a good night. Peace out. Peace out, everybody. Much love.